Welcome to the Ice Guys live Betcast. We are live. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Our first live Betcast of the season, and we're glad to be with you for this special night. It is special. You know, you look at Buffalo Sabres versus Pittsburgh Penguins, and you think that's anything but special. But hey, it's our first Betcast of the season. And look, we had scheduled this a few weeks ago, and you know, sometimes there's things in life that you throw you a curveball, you don't expect them. We're expecting for weeks now to do this live Betcast March 24th, and we purposely scheduled it for Wednesday, March 24th to have our man Jimmy Murphy join us. And unfortunately, Jimmy's been hit with a serious, health issue today. He's been battling something, like he's been in and out of ER. I think he'll be fine, but he's got to rest it up, and he was dealing with sweats and all kinds of stuff last night, and his stomach issues. And Jimmy, unfortunately, a late scratch for the Betcast tonight, but he'll be joining us when we do these again in April. And I kind of like that it's just the one game. It's kind of just a test drive for us. We've just got the one game. We're gonna have some nights where we pick a night, in April, and we do more of these Betcasts where. We're going to be picking nights where there's like 8 or 10 games on the schedule. And we're going to be just our eyes are going to be all over the place, watching games, placing bets. It'll be a lot of fun. But Alex, I know it's Buffalo, Pittsburgh. I know it's only one game on the schedule, but hey, we're going to make the most of it. We're going to have some fun.
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong. It's a night where we're all sitting around, having a couple drinks and watching hockey. I mean, that's never a bad night at all.
We're going to really complain.
Right, you're right, exactly. So, obviously, we wish to have a better matchup, but, obviously in the regular season, you can't pick and choose these things. And, of course, we would have had another game going on with Montreal, Edmonton, but that game ended up, of course, getting postponed due to COVID. Thankfully, we were watching the end of the Minnesota Wild Anaheim Ducks game. We were worried about that game getting postponed. I know Zach Parise was out. He tested positive, or at least was in the COVID protocol list. I forget who was out for Anaheim. There's a couple of players. You mentioned it earlier today. But it's been a good game, 3-2 with 2:07 left. Anaheim's got the net empty, and they're trying like hell to get this one tied up. But Minnesota fighting them off and playing pretty well from both ends so far in this game. I've watched it for mostly since the second period. You had to run around and stuff, but it's been a pretty good game so far. So.
Yeah, it has been. It's actually been pretty entertaining, very entertaining. There's been a couple of fights in this game. We saw the captain of the Ducks, Ryan Getzlaf, dropping the gloves. Now, look, people are going to bitch and moan about, and this is what's going to great about the live Betcast, is we're going to have so much time to just shoot the shit about random things about hockey and such, rather than not just obviously comment on the game that's going on. But, Ryan Getzlaf, people say, is he over the hill? Is his offensive game certainly is not what it used to be in his prime. But that's what he still brings to team, right? He can drop the gloves. He's going to try to rally the troops, get something going, stimulate the bench, stimulate the team when maybe the run of play is going against them. I think that's what he was trying to do early in the game, fighting Carson Soucy of the Minnesota Wild. That's what he still brings to a team. Like every player that has either played with Getzlaf or against him, they say nothing but strong remarks about him as a captain, him as a leader on this Anaheim Ducks team. So he's one of those guys that even though the offense is sort of, dried up for him a little bit the last few years, which is to expect as he gets older, he brings you those other intangible elements that help a hockey team. And they say he's in the dressing room, his leadership skills are off the chart. And everyone to a man has said that about Ryan Getzlaf.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like you said, he's a veteran presence. And the fact that he's still willing to drop the gloves this late in his career. Think about how many guys, these days in the last 15 years, where when they get to past their 10th season, they're not fighting anybody unless they're enforcers. But for a guy who was a top scorer, like he got making over 700 assists, and he's going to be a potentially future Hall of Famer, I would assume, down the road. To answer the call for his team, that it takes a lot these days. You don't see that often, and that kind of leadership, we have to applaud that while we still see it in this league.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why Getzlaf, there's been rumblings, trade deadline coming up. Does he get moved? I don't know. There's some people that he might, but I don't know if that's a foregone conclusion. I think that's one of those, I would have it less than 50-50. I'd say maybe 65-35. 65, he stays in Anaheim. 35, he doesn't. I honestly think he could stay put. He's been there forever, and this is his only team he's ever been on. So I think it's going to have to take some kind of return from Bob Murray's standpoint, the GM of the Ducks, to actually pull the trigger and make a trade involving his captain.
Yeah, and it's got to be to a team that not just going to the playoffs, but like a legitimate cup contender. Like, he's gonna, it's basically like a Ray Bork, and then most likely retiring if he were to be on the team and win a championship. So, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I can see him staying around. Does he stay after this year? Who knows? But like I said, when you got a guy 15, 16 years with one organization, the only way you really want to see them move would be with a chance to get a championship, in their last season.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's like remember doing the Ray Bork when it comes to Ryan Getzlaf, essentially giving him a chance to win a cup, and that's what Boston did late in the year with Ray Bork, trading him to Colorado, and of course the rest is history. Ray Bork, who had been such a great player in the NHL for decades, he finally wins his first Stanley Cup. Yeah, we got beer. I mean, Alex has he's got a way more variety in his drinking cabinet and arsenal tonight than I do. I have more, at my disposal, but right. I've chosen to stick with the suds tonight, stick with the old brown pop, stick with the beer. And we do have a final score in Minnesota. It looks to be that way.
Yeah, well, 1.1 seconds left. There's a little skirmish, Henrique and Eriksson act, but that's pretty much over with.
Yeah. 1.1 seconds. Yeah. There's not enough time for anything to happen, really.
I think this face-off will be outside the circle, outside the zone. Let's see, it's a penalty call.
Oh, they're giving Minnesota a penalty here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's a mad rush.
It'll be an offensive zone face-off here for the Anaheim Ducks with the extra attacker. But again,
I mean, they got to shoot it off the draw to
yeah. It's one of those scrum the draws and just get your stick on it and just shoot and just hope
this is pretty much how
that's all you can do.
The Florida game ended last night. Florida had 5 seconds left. They called the timeout and had a chance to get one on that to tie that Hawks game, and it ended up being 3-2. So kind of the same situation.
All right, we'll see how this one finishes here. Again, not much time left, but
ooh.
Wow, that got through. Holy shit. Forced Talbot into a save right at the friggin' buzzer there. Wow.
That's as good of a chance as you want with 1.1 seconds left. That's not bad.
Wow. I mean, that was well executed by the Ducks, off the set face-off play. And that's what, coaches have this, when there's time that's times of the essence and there's not much left, they'll have set face-off plays where they know they need a shot within a short period of time, and they'll plan something where they could get a quick shot directed toward the net. They got what they wanted. That's all you can ask for.
And so now it's official, franchise record, 10 straight home wins for the Minnesota Wild. That's huge, and it's a damn shame, obviously, with what's going on, that there's no crowd, because they would be going nuts here. I had to go to the liquor store earlier, so I was going past Excel Center, and it's just so strange that there's a game going on and they're playing well and there's just nobody around. The atmosphere there would be absolutely electric right now. So, I'm sure people are, and people at the bars around here and stuff, people are at home enjoying it for sure. But this would be a really big event at the Excel Center if there were fans. So hopefully, everything moving along next month. They said there should be a limited crowd, and that limited crowd, if it's 2,000-3,000 people, they're going to be loud. They're going to be fired up, especially if we're talking about a team that's not only making a playoffs, but possibly making a run at that West Division title.
Yeah, no question about that. And how's Allery's doing there where you are? Is it still kicking?
Allery's, well, they're open up again because they turned into they got a restaurant in there now as well. They got to finally build a kitchen. So they were closed up permanently for like a good minute. They weren't even doing food after a while. So I haven't been in there and God knows when, but before the pandemic, everything was rolling pretty nicely and so forth. So that should be back to normal soon. It's the largest patio in the area. People go there and park and then take a shuttle over to the game. So I'm sure they'll try to open up and get everything running just in time for when the crowd will be going back to the Excel Center.
Good stuff there. All right, Minnesota's happy, and we have puck drop in Buffalo and Pittsburgh. They are in the first minute of the game right now. It dropped the puck dropped just about a minute ago. 1 minute in. Sabres and Penguins underway. Penguins a little sloppy in their own zone on this current shift, but they survive it. And that's always the worry with the Penguins. Mike Sullivan was talking coming into this game how he was happy that his team finally got a couple of days off. They had played a lot of games in a condensed period of time. Wow, just a very close chance just a second ago for the Penguins. As Buffalo, there was a defenseman there who just saved a goal basically and cleared it off the goal line. So Pittsburgh coming close in the first 2 minutes to putting the puck in the net. The only pregame bet I made was over 3.5 team total with Pittsburgh. It's just been a knee-jerk type of bet for me the last couple of weeks. A lot of teams against Buffalo have scored 4 goals or more. Hope Pittsburgh can do that, although Pittsburgh's averaging less than 2 goals per game in their last 3 coming into today. So they've not been lighting the lamp, but you just hope the Sabres cure what ails them. Let's look at some of these player props now in game that are still ongoing. Of course, DraftKings Sportsbook, we encourage you, use them. They're excellent in terms of the player prop market. No question about that. But definitely in some of the books I use as well, there's live goal scorer prop markets. Look, outside of 4 guys for the Pittsburgh Penguins, you would think they have a chance to score some goals tonight against Buffalo. But outside of the top line, Rust, Gensel, Crosby, and Kasperi Kapanen, who plays on their second line, you're not getting a lot of the other forwards right now scoring consistently for Pittsburgh. So I think if you're going to look at in-game goal scoring props, really hunker down and focus on those 4 guys. 3 on the top line for Pittsburgh, Crosby, Gensel, and Rust, as well as Kapanen. I think those are the 4 that are going to do the damage, more than likely.
Yeah, I mean, they said Gensel got 6 goals, 9 points his last 6 games, so he's been absolutely on fire. I don't have a book that has, player props for in-game. Basically, what I have, and the thing that I use the most, I talk about it all the time, is the next goal in regulation prop. Right now, Penguins are minus $1.88, and Buffalo's a plus 140 to get the first goal of the game. And the Penguins are buzzing right now. 2 shots on goal, but 2 very close chances so far. So that number is going to probably go a little bit up before we see somebody get one in.
Yeah, those were a couple of good chances for the Penguins right there, and a couple good saves for Tokarski. I mean, a guy that probably wants some shots, feel the puck early in the game. Isn't that what we always say? This is his first NHL appearance in 5 years. It's hard to believe 2016 is the last time we've seen Dustin Tokarski, in an NHL game. This is a guy that actually played in a playoff year for the Montreal Canadiens back in the day. So he's definitely got experience playing at this level. There's a shot. I think that deflected either off the post or the crossbar. So Pittsburgh coming close. That was a drive by Brian Dumoulin, it looked like, from the point, and then it deflected out of play. So Pittsburgh, last couple shifts coming in waves against this Sabre team.
He's one of my favorite defensemen in a while. I don't talk a lot about players I like to watch. I'm more just kind of watch teams or whatever. But Brian Dumoulin's a guy I've always enjoyed watching. He's just a solid defenseman. He can be the stay-at-home guy when need to. He can jump in the rush. Has a pretty decent shot. I've always enjoyed watching his play. Oh, close chance with Buffalo. Now, Ian, I think I'm a little bit ahead of you because I'm watching on cable. I know you got your internet set up. So, Ian, you're on mute, by the way.
I think it's on cable in Canada, this game. Roger Sportsnet's picking up NBCSN for this game because they were supposed to show up Edmonton, Montreal.
Sure, right.
So I think Sportsnet's showing this game now, but I'm still watching it on my IPTV. I'm just so used to using the IPTV that I don't bother with cable, because my cable, I cut it to like basic, bare bones. I pay barely anything for it.
Everybody's got the right idea, and I'm actually going to jump in with this. This will be the first play. First period over 1.5. You get right now plus 140. The way Pittsburgh's buzzing right now, they should be able to get that, and that price is going to be gone if they score. So I'm going to take a shot here with that. And
I just jumped on a different kind of bet, hoping for a goal quickly here. The first 10 minutes, Pittsburgh to score a goal, specifically at plus 300. I'm in on that right now. Plus 300 Pittsburgh to score a goal before the 10-minute mark. That's what we're looking at. Oh, big save right there by Jari. Sabres with a good chance. Another good save.
I jumped to 150 before I typed it. Now, that's something that's, you got to be mindful of when you're doing live betting. Got to watch quick, because you could be typing in the price that you want to bet, and then all of a sudden that price goes up or it goes down. So you got to be quick with the draw. And I usually do that with my cell phone more often than not than the laptop when I'm betting live. But either way, it's the same thing. It'll kick you out, depending on the price.
And this is what it does. It gives you an opportunity to really cheer for something in a short period of time. Look, I got 5 minutes now to get me a goal from the Pittsburgh Penguins, essentially here to cash this plus 300. So here we go. We'll see how it goes. This is small bets, of course, very, very small. It's like I said, You're gonna you sometimes if things don't go your way, you can have great huge nights betting live, and then there's some nights where it's just you're not going to call things right. You're not going to get much breaks, and quickly can send you in the poorhouse. That's why you got to manage your bankroll properly when you're betting live games live. Especially we're going to be high volume, or at least I'm going to try to be high volume with the live bets here to make the show more exciting.
Right.
But it's going to be very, very low units, like 0.1 of the unit. I would say so. I think that's probably what I got on all of these.
And what's interesting too is that, and I've had to kind of temper my personal service clients with this, because this year I've done a really good job of live betting with these props, and I've bailed myself out of nights, where I was going to be losing or just breaking even, and had winning nights. Now that's not my goal. I'm not trying to use this as a to catch ahead. I'm just catching good spots and cashing them. But so I had to kind of tell people, hey, like, this is not the norm. Like, we're having an unusually high success rate with these live wagers. I mean, we're hoping to continue, but I'm not using them to chase losses at all. I'm using them to try to just boost, or just, sometimes, like I said, a low volume night like this, as far as games go on the card, you're better off watching a game, analyzing it live, than having something pregame if you don't really have a feel. I'm a huge handicapper as far as the seeing eye test. I'll go through all the numbers and stuff, but watching games is my main source of handicapping. So utilizing that to my advantage, that's really the mode of attack for me.
And I think we've mentioned this before. It's not just the eye test and watching the games. It's you could actually have a preconceived notion of the way a game's going to unfold before it starts.
Sure,
and then you see it start out totally different from what you expected. And you could alter your thought process and maybe adjust and maybe look to bet something a little bit different than you thought coming in if your bet was a little bit different from that. So that's the great thing. And that's why I think, look, God bless the people that are math geeks and numbers guys and don't watch a thing and don't watch any games, don't watch any of these sports, and just don't know many of the players and can't name 5 players on a team or 5 players in the league, and they still have success. And if it's good on them for having that success. That's not me. That could never be me. That could never be a way I could see myself thriving betting on sports. I got to watch the games. I got to get some observations in.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who they don't watch any football or any basketball. They just bet strictly off numbers. And I'm just like, how, okay, and I understand, the math equations for a lot of these things, and I've learned them over the years, but still, you have to watch and see what players are doing. We talk about the whole thing with referees, how referees are calling the game. Ice surface. We obviously don't talk about weather indoors, but how the ice surface is going in basketball. How are the rims responding? Now March Madness time, the backdrops. When you have those Elite Eight, Final Four games that are being played in these massive football stadiums, they're not being played in small gyms. A team like Oral Roberts has never shot, hoops in a football stadium. How are they going to respond to that backdrop if there's people there, or now in an empty football stadium? That's got to be even weirder. So little things like that, those nuances that we use, that old school handicappers use, newer guys don't equate that into their numbers. You can't you put that into a formula or put that into a computer and have it spit out something. Even then, you still have to fine tweak it. So like I said, to each their own. But yeah, the seeing eye test to me is always going to be the most important factor.
Yeah, it is. I think you pick up things like, especially you mentioned basketball, pace. Pace of play, which something's not always something you pick up. Just by a crunch. What if there's a change in that pace of play? Is definitely something you can see with certain teams. So there's just all kinds of different things you could potentially look at in that regard. But we've got the Sabres now buzzing in the Pittsburgh zone a little bit. And we have a glove save by Jari, and he'll hold for a face.
Jari is giving up some rebounds. He's not kicking them away as cleanly now. A couple of those pad saves. Those are little things that I like to look for when betting live. Those rebounds coming out, don't matter how bad of a team Buffalo is, you get a rebound back on your stick between the circles, they can bury it. So that's something to keep an eye on. Both teams are actually playing at a decent pace. Considering how these teams have done offensively from the numbers, as I mentioned, high danger chances haven't really been the mode of attack for either one of these clubs. But right now, so far, they're seem to be moving the puck along well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Anytime goal scorers, I'm looking at the adjusted prices now in game. Crosby plus 120, Getzlaf plus 120, Rust plus 140, Sam Reinhart plus 2. If you're going to take someone on Buffalo, he'd be someone you look at. I think even Dylan Cousins at plus 500, because I know it hasn't shown up offensively. The guy works his tail off every game. He's actually one of the few Sabres. He's really, really played hard every single night. Maybe eventually you get rewarded for that kind of work ethic. You're always around the front of the net. You're looking for loose pucks. Cousins has been one of those guys for the Sabres. So, I don't expect Buffalo to score a ton tonight, but definitely looking at the Sabres certainly tonight. Wow, Pittsburgh coming close just there. We have 2.5 minutes for me to make good on my Pittsburgh to score in the first 10 minutes at plus 300, but they came close just now. But yeah, Reinhart and Cousins for the Sabres would be the ones I would look at. There we go, baby. Pittsburgh's on the board. It's 1-0. A beautiful 2-on-1 rush caused by a neutral zone turnover. And those will often result in a goal for the opponent. And we've got one from the Pittsburgh Penguins to go up 1-0. It calls for a drink. Exactly right.
That's
beautiful.
Wonderful. Helps all of us. That is. And that's how the three-man rush earlier was exactly the same play they were trying to attempt right there. So they were able to get right back to that same play, the same attack, and convert on it. So, cheers.
Cheers. Salud. There we go. We've got our first live bet of the night in the win column.
There you go.
Pittsburgh to score in the first 10 minutes in game at plus 300. So
nice.
Excellent stuff. Evan Rodriguez getting the goal, burning his former team, actually. He was with the Buffalo Sabres. So, yeah, shit can't get any worse for the Sabres, right? Now you got extra players scoring against you right now. So, good start for Pittsburgh and good for my team total as well.
Yeah.
So,
and great for us with the first period over. Those plus 150s, plus 170s, those are kind of gone now. And over 1.5 right now, minus 227 in my book. So, we're in good shape with a good price.
Yeah, and you're not just betting. Well, you're betting to win. Of course you are. You're not betting any bet to lose, but you're also betting to get good prices, betting good prices. And look at that first period over you took. You took it at a plus price. It was there for the taking. We saw a ton of pace, back and forth chances in the first 7 or 8 minutes of this game. You jumped on it at a plus price, just held off long enough for the price to get into the plus range on that first period over with the chances that weren't cashing. You bet it, and now sure enough, you get the goal from Pittsburgh. And now you're looking at that. Let's look at that first period total I'm seeing right now at a couple of these. Look at that first period total right now. You're looking now. Look, there's some books that offer the Asian line. Like over 1.5 and 2 is like minus 130 now. Right. So look at the difference. And you could add 1.5 at a plus price just 5 minutes ago.
And you got Pittsburgh deep in Buffalo's end, still moving the puck around. So it might be Pittsburgh. Maybe look at Pittsburgh next to score right now at the high price, of course, minus 163. But that's where it seems to be the next potential goal could be coming from. So maybe hold off, wait till the timeout that's coming up after this 10-minute break, and could get a better adjusted price there.
No doubt about it. So we're not done. I'm going to have a little, take a couple minutes here to take in more of the action. We'll see. We might be having a penalty here on the play potentially here. I don't have the sound on. I should have the sound on just a little, but
a little bit. I was thinking the exact same thing. My sound was kind
just enough. Like I don't think my mic's good. This Yeti mic that I've been using now for several months, and I've tested it with Alex before we do shows. It doesn't pick up a damn thing in terms of background noise. So you put the sound up just a tad so I can hear what's happening. No penalty on that play. So it was just a arm in the air for the offside there on that last play.
163 is still too high for a next goal. I agree. Somebody said that in the chat.
Yeah, Terry, unfortunately, our man Jimmy Murphy, under the weather. He had to be in and out of hospital today. Just not feeling well. He's going to be fine. I think he just needs a really good night. He was just terrible, like cramps and stomach issues and getting the chills. And you know what that's like. It's a brutal feeling. You feel like you're just your head spinning. He's just resting it off tonight. Get a good night's sleep. He's going to check in with us tomorrow. Hopefully he's back on the show tomorrow, our regular Ice Guys show at 2 p.m. Eastern. So hoping to see Jimmy tomorrow back here. He'll be back for our April live shows, no question. He was looking forward to tonight, but
Buffalo.
It is what it is. Buffalo with a really good chance there. You're right. These rebound control has been a little spotty tonight for Jari so far in the first 10 minutes. I've been impressed. This game's actually exceeded my expectations. There's jump on both sides. I think from a Sabres standpoint, they don't want to lose 15 in a row and become known as a imprint in the history books.
Oh, good traffic in front. All right, we're gonna have a TV timeout, so I'm gonna take a restroom break along with them. I'll be right back.
Yep, cool. We'll probably do little intermission breaks tonight during, like, not long. We're not going to be gone for the full intermission, but, we'll take 5 minutes or 6 minutes just to get away from the camera and, washroom break, refill our beer, whatever the case may be. But we won't be gone long. We're not taking the whole intermissions off, but, we'll probably go dark for 5 minutes during each intermission. Yeah, what happened to the Flames? Good. Fuck if I know. Bad loss for them. You can't get outshot in the third period by the Ottawa Senators and expect to be a team that's going to get back into the playoff chase. You've got 4 pretty good teams ahead of you right now. I think on paper, you can say Montreal, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Toronto, all 4 of those teams ahead of the Calgary Flames in the North Division right now. I think you can say that all 4 of those teams are better teams top to bottom than the Calgary Flames. So if they're going to try to get back into the playoffs, and into the top 4 in the North, you got to win games against a team like Ottawa. I know Ottawa works hard and all that, but this was set up with Ottawa with a 4th goalie on their depth chart in the organization, playing in net for both of these games. And look, this was on Calgary. I thought Calgary played better the other night, to be honest with you, than they did today against Ottawa. I mean, they were getting outshot 11-4 in the third period of this game at one point by the Ottawa Senators. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to be this lethargic, lackadaisical, and they had a 1-0 lead going into the third period too. It's a stinging loss. It is a jarring loss for this team. And look, as the bloom come off the Daryl Sutter rose now a little bit, I think so. Just a little bit. When you lose 2 in a row to the Ottawa Senators, let's pump the Daryl Sutter parade down a little bit. All right, let's put the kibosh on that a little bit.
Well, like I said, the other day on the show when we were talking about the whole issue with Gustafsson and Flames trying to take the puck, I think there's just a character issue. There needs to be a change of culture in that locker room with the Flames. I think it's just deeper than what we're seeing on the ice, because they were a good team. We're talking about 3, 4, 5 years ago. They made a decent run to the playoffs. They look like they might have had the pieces to be a conference champion in the West, and then just a lot of things kind of fell apart at one end or another. And now. I said I think there might be a team where coming up now in the next full season and with the expansion draft, and obviously they're going to have a new opponent in their division with the Seattle Kraken. They might need to make some wholesale changes sooner than later.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Calgary, 3 losses in a row because they lost to Toronto on the weekend. Although I thought they played okay in that game. Jack Campbell in the Leaf defense was pretty good, but losing these back-to-back games with Calgary, not good. And a stinging loss for them today against Ottawa. And it's not going to get any easier, the schedule either, for the Calgary Flames. So you start to get concerned, and time's running out. I mean, the playoffs are in early May. We're going to be looking at the playoffs. So definitely concerns about Calgary and whether they have enough time as well to turn it around.
They go home after this game today and have a 3-game set at home against the Winnipeg Jets, who we've been giving high praise, but I have money on them tonight. You do too. So yeah, things could get out of hand right now. We got the trade deadline coming up on the 12th, so they have, let's see, it's 6, 7, 8. There's 9 games before the April 12th deadline for Calgary. You're gonna have to make some decisions probably within the next 3 to 5, 3 to 6 before to see where they're as far as selling or buying. You're muted again, Ian. Also, shout out. Oh, what you guys say before? Well,
go ahead, Alex. It's all good. Yeah,
I was just gonna say shout out to one of our original Ice guys, Andrew McInnes is in the chat room. So just want to say hey to him.
Check that. I haven't been looking at. Oh, there he is. Yes, Andrew, way to go. Welcome in. Yes, one of our former colleagues before he went to greener pastures. No,
hey, once a nice guy.
It was greener pastures. Now I'm not so sure because Ice guys, we're going big here. We got some good things on the horizon. But yeah, I mean, we've got it's a lot of people talking about the late games as well here. San Jose, LA. And Winnipeg, Vancouver. Yeah, we like the Jets. I think Alex likes the Jets. Yes, he does. He used it as best bet. Winnipeg in regulation plus 110. I'm on just the money line in this one. Oh wow, 2-on-1, but missed the net. You can't miss the net on a 2-on-1 like that. That always drives me nuts. You have a 2-on-1 rush like that, and you don't even force the goalie to make a save in this one when you have a chance like that. So missed opportunity there for Pittsburgh. Still 1-0. We're rooting for Alex's first period over here. Still lots of time. 7:16 to go in the first period.
They're showing a replay now. That was a bad giveaway by Buffalo that led to that. Oh yeah, Letang just got it off the heel of his stick. Letang, I think he's a guy. Talking about teams needing defensemen. I think Letang would definitely be a guy that potentially could be moved, even if Pittsburgh's a playoff team. It would be interesting to see if they move him and if they can get someone who's obviously you're not going to find an equivalent of him. So if you can get someone who's younger that's sturdy enough to play, say, the third defensive pairing now for a playoff run, and you can have his contract for a couple of years, get a draft pick along with him. Maybe that's something that Pittsburgh would take a shot with.
There have been a lot of rumors for Letang, and Brian Burke and Ryan Hextall. What am I talking about? Ron Hextall were brought in here to evaluate this team, to see how they were going to play between the time they took over and the trade deadline, and assess whether this team really looked like they had another big run in them to maybe be a playoff team, potentially go after a Stanley Cup, or was this a team that they'd be looking to slowly maybe look to be sellers with a couple? The first of all, the offer has to be great. It has to be an excellent offer for Brian Burke and Ron Hextall to part ways with anyone in the stratosphere of a Letang or a Malkin. Crosby to me ain't going anywhere. Be it maybe Malkin, maybe Letang. And even then, I'm not sold there is movement before the deadline. Burke and Hextall haven't said a damn thing about their intentions. And with actually the way Pittsburgh's largely played since they got there, they're probably going to be hesitant on just this full-on sell mode that some people seem to think they should be contemplating here.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a full-on sale, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe Letang to Columbus or to Colorado rather for a first round and a prospect who's NHL ready. That would be something that because like we talked about it with Cale Makar and Bowen Byram. One of those guys go down during the playoff run, Colorado's in trouble. So to have a veteran presence like Letang, even if all of them are healthy, but to have Letang playing with those two guys, that would be a huge boost in that locker room. Just to have that presence, like just having someone kind of like a mentor for a short term, especially with a Cale Makar, that's kind of almost a similar style. So I think that would be an interesting trade to ponder.
Yeah, and I think and Letang has steadied the ship in terms of his game in the last. Oh, what a save by Tokarski there! Wow, holy mackerel! And just hideous defensive coverage and breakdowns. That's the old famous. Both guys go behind the net and nobody stays in front of the net.
Yep.
That's when you're just having breakdowns in coverage defensively when that happens. That happens a lot more than you would think in the NHL. We're just two guys that one guy thinks the other guy's got the guy in front, and the other guy thinks the other guy has the forward in front, and both defensemen end up flying behind the net, and nobody has any of the forward in front. Nobody has the forward in front, and we saw that there. Well, speaking of the devil, Chris Letang, 2-0 Penguins. We just talked about how his game's been better lately, and that's the Letang of old. Just nobody paying attention. People look; they got forwards to look after. You have Crosby behind the net there, and there's Letang just away from all the traffic, away from all the coverage, just sneaking down from the right point.
The needle
totally no one paying attention, and then he just goes roof job.
Can't fault Tokarski for that. I mean, the way that he closed that hole as close as he could, and still got past him. But we'll take that. That's first period over winner.
There we go. First period over winner. Salute, Alex. That deserves another drink. Cheers. That's 2-0, baby. For the Ice guys in our live bets early on. 2-0.
We're not new to it. We're true to it.
Yep. I've got catching up to do with Alex. And I'm not talking about drinking anymore either. I'm talking about the live betting acumen, because Alex has been doing great with live bets all year. I've been in and out of live betting, so I've got to show that I've got some game in me too here tonight.
And that's before I did. Here's a quick brief backstory. I watched hockey since I was about 5 or 6 years old, but I didn't start betting hockey until the lockout year 2012. I was always betting football and basketball. And then it just kind of naturally is like I've watched more hockey than anything. I've watched it so closely. I've always watched hockey as closely as I do now as I did when I was a kid, when I didn't know anything about betting or I was just a fan. And so, I just, modified that. And so even with the live betting, when I started, everybody's talking about live betting and everybody was doing it for baseball and football and basketball. And I'm like, I should live bet hockey. Like, I know this game. I know those tendencies. I know the timing and pace. And that's the thing, it's just adapting what into that box. You don't just look at a broad thing to say, oh, I love football, so I'm going to just bet that live. It's like, no, you got to, how do you watch a game? Baseball's a fan thing for me. I can't bet baseball. I don't watch. I watch it intently, but it's not it's more of a passion thing for me. It's a heart thing. I hate every team except my White Sox. So, I can't go against my heart with that. So where hockey, as much as I love my Hawks, I can bet against them. I know when they're struggling and I can, use that to my advantage. So that's really the thing with live betting. You have to really kind of pay attention and intently pay. And not everyone can do that. Sometimes that ruins the fan experience for people. I understand that being a drawback for some people to why they don't bet live.
Yeah, I mean, your White Sox, you're right. And baseball is not a sport you've been betting a whole lot, over the last few years. It's been, but hockey, yeah, I remember hearing you say that story a while back that you've loved hockey all your life, but you were betting other sports before you even said, hey, let's look at the NHL board and start betting that.
And even, what's even funnier, the same thing as with the UFC. We got Clint in the chat. I've watched the UFC. I remember watching the first 5 or 6 UFCs when I was a kid because I loved it because I thought it was like, oh, it's like real pro wrestling. And I've watched MMA and boxing my whole life. I didn't start betting that seriously till about maybe 2011, 2012. And then the UFC really within the last 3 or 4 years. I'm like, well, I watch it so damn much. Like, I know these things. I can, modify the prices. I had to learn the nuances of betting it, because I know, like I said, learning like inside the distance or just those kind of formalities. But other than that, I'm like, I know these fighters, and I've worked with fighters. I was a cut man assistant, in boxing. I know how things work. And boxing is a whole different thing. That honestly, if talk about kind of corrupt and weird things, most of the boxing bets I've ever made were. I'm not saying they're fixed or rigged, but you kind of know that this was a handpicked opponent, and this guy needs to get some rounds in. And you just use that to your advantage, but you can only really know that unless you've worked in boxing. You can, have people tell you that all day long, but that's a true field sport. So, like I said, there's people, people who bet tennis. My uncle's watched tennis all his life, and I'm sure he's never thought about betting it. But he's watched enough to where if I probably told him, explain to him how the lines work, he'd probably be a savant at betting tennis.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you can really hone in on a certain element of a sport and you see things that are possible, and hey, we got a goal for the Buffalo Sabres.
There we go.
On a point shot. And it's 2-1. It was Rasmus Dahlin who let it go.
Yeah. Let's see the replay on this.
Montour, Dahlin.
Nice
shot. A knuckleball. It might have been Stahl in front with the redirection. I think he might have gotten that. Let's see. No, straight in. Straight in. Jari didn't, I think, get a clean look at it. So I think this will be Rasmus Dahlin's goal for the Buffalo Sabres. That was not a Stahl deflection in front.
No.
And it's 2-1.
So now let's look at the live lines from Bet Online. Penguins minus 600 on the money line, of course, still being 2-1, but over 7.5 minus plus 125.
Yeah. This is one of those games. It started wide open, and I think the Penguins getting the couple of days off has given them a lot more energy and jump. This is way more pace than I've seen in a Penguins game in a long time. They've played some slower paced, lower shot totals, lower scoring chances kind of games the last few with the Devils, and then before that even there weren't really a ton of these back and forth exchange chances kind of games. It's been a while since I've seen Pittsburgh engage in one of these type of up and down affairs, and that's all it's been so far in this first period.
Make note of that come playoff time, because this is an older Penguins team for the most part. Their core is older. We're talking about Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and sorts. If they're able to take care of opponents easily, let's say they get a first round 4-game sweep, they have those days off, look to bet them early. If they go into a bunch of dogfights, 6-game, 7-game series, they start wearing out, that's when they're going to probably run into some trouble.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is and if you were to average age on this Penguins team, I'm sure they're bottom 5 NHL or top 5 NHL on the oldest average age, in the NHL. No question about that. I mean, when you look at
that right
guys, Dumoulin even's been around forever. Of course, it goes without saying Letang and Crosby, Malkin, guys of that caliber that have been around a lot. Zucker, when he's playing, like Jason Zucker's been around a long time on this Penguins team as well. There's been a bunch of guys. They've got a lot of years of service, I guess you could say, in the NHL, and we're seeing that. I haven't bet anything yet. I mean, we're off to a great start here with the first period over. My Penguins scoring in the first 10 minutes worked out well. I might hit the Penguins in the first 10 minutes of the second period might be of interest to me. We'll wait and see on that, especially with the 2-1 lead now instead of 2-0. There's going to be onus on Pittsburgh. Hey, we got to try to get the next one.
I'm gonna hold pat. There's a minute left. I'm gonna hold pat and wait for the intermission numbers to kick in, and then something in the second period, because right now, I mean, we're not getting any kind of like 163. minus $1.63 for Penguins' next goal, which is kind of where I'm headed. But I want to wait and maybe see a slower that'll adjust at the beginning of the period, especially if we go 2-3 minutes without a goal. That'll lower a little bit.
That's not a bad strategy right there. Yeah, Gregory Ferreira in the chat. Ice Guys actually picked a great game to launch the first Betcast. Well, yeah, I know. I mean, you wouldn't have thought that about a couple of days ago. We're kind of when we found out Edmonton and Montreal was postponed. Yeah. I think Alex's first comment in our little private Ice Guys Twitter DM was, geez, I mean, we've only got the Sabres and the Penguins. I mean, this is it. I mean, my goodness, we should move up the Betcast maybe to the 5 p.m. Eastern games. Yeah.
I was up this morning. So many of you might not know in the chat, I do some writing for a few websites. One of them, Pittsburgh Hockey.
Wow.
That's close.
Close call there.
And so I
didn't know where it was.
I have to do betting previews for every Penguins game the rest of the season. And so I'm writing it, and I'm in our chat room, and I'm messaging Ian. I go, I got a bad feeling about tonight. I'm like, this game, this is the one game we've got for the chat. I'm like, this could be an absolute just shit show. And, we got to try and, make 2.5 hours out of it. And then I started digging into the numbers. I'm like, you know what? This could actually be kind of a close game. I mean, and there's the fact that if this was Buffalo, say, in an 8-game losing streak, probably would be horrible. But the fact that they're at a historic pace of losing, they don't want to lose 15 in a row. It would be the worst losing streak in franchise history. And they know they're the only game on TV, which I don't know how much that makes a difference in the NHL compared to some other sports. I don't think it really does. I don't factor that in, like, say, the NBA, if there's a standalone game, or NFL, obviously, like a Thursday night. But, it ended up being a pretty good game. And I was like, okay, my hopes were a little higher once I digged into the numbers. But at first, I'm just like, holy shit, we're going to have to probably drink a little bit more to entertain everybody. But so far, the game's been pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great stop, Tokarski. Yeah. Pittsburgh with a power play late in the period here, and they're buzzing 12 seconds. Buffalo's trying to get out of this period and get the penalty kill extended to the second period. Letang drive deflection wide.
Yeah.
Back to the line. Another pass. Crosby fakes the drive. Crosby, good save, Tokarski at the buzzer, and that's the end of the first period.
Minute 35 left in the power play for the beginning of the second period, and you got Penguins minus 200 now next to the score. So hopefully going to wait for this penalty to expire and they don't score anything, and then maybe jump on the Penguins right after the penalty expires.
Yep. That's my thought, is wait till this, because you're not getting the value now. It's all about also. It's definitely about timing it. Timing is everything with live betting. It is just it is everything, honestly, because you could bet a better price and then you miss the boat, and then, or if you're slow on actually pulling the trigger or placing the bet, the team scores, and then all of a sudden the price you loved is gone. And that's exactly why timing is everything. Can you suggest anytime goal score for the Pittsburgh game at the moment? I'm going to look at that. Like, Buffalo, definitely getting a goal helps them. Pittsburgh, I'd stick to the same 4. They haven't shown up yet on the scoreboard, but I'd look maybe Crosby, Rust, Gensel, and Kapanen. Kapanen scored a lot of his goals later in the game, second period and third period. He scored a lot of third period goals. I hope he doesn't score in the second. I've got a strategy in mind. Kapanen, prior to the third period starting, bet him to score a goal because these prices get better and better and better for anytime goal scorer props in game the longer they don't score. So I think that's the strategy. Knowing that Kapanen's put a lot of his goals in the net in the third period this season for the Penguins. He scored a lot of game-winning goals, goals to tie the game in the third periods of games for Pittsburgh this year. That's when I'm thinking in my mind, time it for the third period, just before the third period starts, to maybe look at Kapanen to score.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes total sense. And
All
then
right,
you got
Pittsburgh after one.
2-1 Pittsburgh.
2-1 Pittsburgh. Yes, thank you.
You got over 7.5 plus 150 at Bet Online. Sabres plus 475. Penguins minus 699. And also, here's something that, and like I said, we use two different books because I know, Ian, you're probably using Bet 365.
Yeah, Bet 365. I'll pound the drum of DraftKings for everybody, but
Sure.
Unfortunately, we're waiting for Canadian ability to be able to use it. But it is great. Like the moment I'm gonna, we get DraftKings Sportsbook here in this country, I'm opening an account. It is good for hockey. You better believe it.
Bet365 is actually available for those of you, if there's anyone watching from New Jersey. I know that there's a Bet365 in New Jersey that's available. So we don't have that here in where I am. So I'm on Bet Online.
All right, so it's 2-1 Pittsburgh after the period. You're right. 7.5 shaded to the under, minus 180, the live in-game adjusted total. And the over 7.5 plus 150, 140 in most spots. You can get the Sabres plus 2.5 goals, minus 155. Pittsburgh minus 2.5 goals, plus 125. Think about the fact that Pittsburgh is up by 1. For the Pittsburgh Penguins live in-game puck line to cash, they need to win by 3 or more. And you still can only get plus 125 with Pittsburgh minus 2.5. That's what happens when you play the worst team in the NHL.
Yep.
You've got to wait it out even longer to get value on the massive favorite in game.
Now, see, here's what's interesting. So I mentioned how right in that last sequence with Pittsburgh, the next to goal score prop was minus 200. Right now, it's minus 188. So you're already getting 20 cents of value just because it's an intermission. So, like I said, just wait maybe even 20, 30 seconds into that first period. That could drop down because, obviously the way, and I don't know how the algorithms work for these computers, honestly. These aren't hand done, obviously. I don't think there's any live book in the world that, they hand move the numbers. They're all algorithm based. So you'll find it drop down maybe 140, 150, and it's still worth it because, like I said, there's a lot of times where you see goals scored, right? It's that shift where the penalty, whoever's serving the penalty comes out of the box, but there's still a tired group. They can't always clear and change. And that if it's a fresh change with, let's say, 20 seconds left in the period in the penalty, that fresh line for the team that's on the power play has an advantage and still could end up getting a goal. So.
That's a really good point. Absolutely. It can make a difference. There's no question. A great question in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat because I'm sure there's people that might ask us something. Talk about from 59 Herbs. Talk about what a unit is to you percentage-wise in pregame betting. Do you stagger your bet size 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit? Pregame betting for me, I use a quarter unit, half unit, 1 unit, and 2 unit betting scale. 2 unit is the biggest wager I'll place on a game before it starts. 2 units, and it's very rare that I have a 2 unit bet. It's even it's actually infrequent that I have 1 unit bets. Like the college basketball, for instance, NCAA tournament, I only had like 4 or 5. I had 6 actually 1 unit plays over like a bunch of games for over the 4 days.
Right.
So not a whole lot when you think of it. Most of my bets, because I'm high volume and I've got a lot of games that I bet on a particular day across all sports, are a quarter unit and a half unit per game. So that's the way I stagger it. In terms of percentage of bankroll, 2 unit for me is 5%, 1 unit 4%, half a unit is 3%. Quarter unit is 2% of the bankroll. And then anything less than that, my recreational bets, 0.1 unit, 0.05. 0.05 and 0.1 units, those are essentially the amounts that I've got on all of these bets that we're doing tonight here live in game.
Right.
Very, very small, 1%, if not less than that, of my overall bankroll. So that's why, these are just little entertainment, recreational. If we give ourselves a nice little bankroll boost and have a nice night betting this game in game and betting it live, I'm happy. But if I get crushed, if my back gets broken by betting a lot of live bets in this game tonight, it doesn't destroy me or it doesn't kill me either. So that's basically the gist of my betting structure.
And for me, I'm way more low volume than Ian. So I have basically I'll have 2 unit will be my highest played. I used to have 3 units, but it's 2 unit. Everything I usually play is the standard 1 unit. I'll go half unit. A lot of these live wagers will be quarter unit. So in the percentage basis, my 1 unit will be 3%. My half unit will be around 2%, and it would be maybe, like I said, 0.5% for those quarter the quarter unit plays. And like you said, so I adjust that accordingly, of course. And it's also different for different sports too, because I say I'd have more money on a hockey wager than I would say a basketball wager. But it'd be in between for football. UFC would be somewhere in between football and hockey range. So if let's say if I were betting, if you want to use a dollar amount, if I were betting a dime, I would be betting a dime for hockey. I'd be betting around 500 per unit for UFC, and it'd be like 200-300 for basketball and football, because my strongest sports are UFC and hockey. So that's how that shapes out. I'm not saying I bet a dime for every game. It varies, but my point is that that's how that breakdown is, and it adjusts. And obviously it'll adjust. I'll have more money on a UFC fight in the summertime than I would in November, because I'm not betting anything else. There's no baseball for me. There's no WNBA or any other sports. It's all UFC in like July. So that also changes too. If I've got every sport rolling, if it's a regular November, let's say November of this year, hopefully everything's back to normal. There's NBA, college basketball, college football, NFL, UFC, and hockey. Then everything's going to be scaled down even more than that. It's going to be mostly half units, quarter units, maybe 1/8 of a unit for something. And I'll try to, not try to stretch everything out so much, because obviously, you just can't have a whole lot. Like I said, I'm not a big high volume guy. There've been days in my career where I've had maybe 12 or 13 bets across like 4 or 5 sports, and that's insane for me. But I know, Ian, you work with that high volume model, and like I said, everybody's got their own style, and that works for you. And like I said, there's some people. I know more people recreationally like high volume. I get more complaints from people that's like, well, you don't have any plays there. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't need to bet every day, and there's nothing I want to bet. There's nothing of value for me, so I'm not going to force it. Not that saying that you're forcing it with a high volume, but that's just your style. So, I always tell people, when you're looking to shop and say you want to, subscribe to a handicapper, it's not bad to subscribe to 2 or 3 different people. We're 2 people that, have opposite kind of not contrarian to each other, but different styles. To the point of, like, if you want high volume action, Ian's the guy that you should look at, because he will give you that, and it'll still keep you within range. You're not going to go crazy, but he's still going to, give you the action you want in volume of plays, but it's still within reason, and you're still going to, make a profit within your bankroll. Where if you're someone who you just, fuck it, I'm going to bet $200 in this one game, I would be more of your speed or style. So that's the biggest thing. And I think, in this industry, there's so much weird shit that people don't really explain that. I think, these big handicapping houses and groups, they should explain how a handicapper, what style they are, because there's some in all these different groups that cater to how you want to bet. If you want to bet big money on 1 or 2 games, or if you want to bet small money on 15 games, there's someone there for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's well said. Everybody's got, different ways, approaches. I'm high volume, but again, if I have 15 games in college basketball, I like every single one of them. We're not just betting 15 for the hell of it. Yeah, it's 15 that we like, but at the same point in time, we realize there's variance. We realize there's some bad breaks, bad luck that can happen in certain sports. And there's also the fact that you're not going to get everything right. Yeah, and you're not going to have a right side every single time. So you make do with the high volume by keeping the unit size low, in my opinion. And that's key. In my opinion, if you're going to be a high volume bettor, you've got to bet reasonable amounts. You can't be betting 15, 10 unit plays. You just can't. No way. If you're going to be a high volume bettor.
And I did it. I mean, I did it back in the day. I'll tell a story. When I first started in 2010, 2011, we both started around the same time. And my NFL season in 2011 was outrageous. Like, I was hitting damn near around 80% at one point I was catching a bunch of bad numbers. And here was the thing, and I quantified it. I was betting locally with a book that was not adjusting that number as well. And I was betting way outside of my means. But also 2011, I was, a musician. I wasn't doing this full time. I was, betting cash I had. And if I lost it, I was making it back, however. So it was a whole different spectrum. But then as I started betting more, and I'm like, well, I'm actually betting less per game. I'm betting more overall. I had a real bankroll, and I had that money management thing was the biggest thing I had to learn being a handicapper, where most handicappers, especially, the guys who are, kind of, not the most reputable, they're just, fly by night, whatever, because they're not always betting their own money. I'm always betting my own money when I'm giving out a play 99% of the time, unless I give out a play to someone and I miss. Most times I'll miss the good number, giving it out to someone else, and then all of a sudden I don't bet it because I didn't get that good number. But I'm like, at least as long as my clients do, because that's what they're paying for, that will happen. But I'll never, give out a bad number, or if I, that number moves, I'll tell everybody, hey, this number moves, stay away from it. And I had to learn that, and that's something that in our industry is not always thing that translates, sadly. And hopefully as things expand nationwide and different things, I've been vocal about regulation. I think there should be an FCC or a SEC for what we do in the industry. We should have to register and be licensed for what we do.
And when I was at Sports Memo, and of course Alex was there for a long time as well, and the thing that always frustrated me there, and back then they were very, very regimented in terms of, they didn't want you putting out 12 plays. And I had to go with 3-4 play cards on a college basketball Saturday or a big Saturday NHL card. And too often isolating and pigeonholing my process down to 4 bets and too many 2 and 2 days, 1 and 3 days on 4 plays, too many 2 and 4 days, 3 and 3 days on 6 plays. And I'm like, this ain't good long term. At some point you've got to go with what works for you. And what works for me is a higher volume where I'm not having to just rack my brain and stress and just go, oh man, do I bet this? Do I not bet this? If it's a play, it's a play. It's what I always say to people. Don't overthink things. If you think it's a good bet, if it agrees with your numbers, if the matchups make sense, if the situation makes sense, you bet it. As long as you maintain your bankroll discipline and your bankroll structure with the high volume approach, you're good. And I've been able to do it that way.
Yep. And I'm one of those people, I think more so than anybody in the industry. The only other person I would compare would be maybe Dave Koken. Is like, if there's a game, I don't give a shit if it's on TV or what it is. If I don't feel like betting, I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to jump into anything, or even, with this live betting and stuff. And like I said, I'll do this more with the NHL than anything else. If I'm watching football or whatever, I'm just enjoying the game, I don't have a feel for it, I'm not going to bet it. And I know that's not the norm. We all have that little bit of degen and all of us for the most part. Me, I really don't. I grew up around gamblers, and I grew up where I had my grandfather was a dice player and a card player and a pool player, where everything was regiment by the book. But then I also had people in my family who were they were riverboat gamblers. And, they throw a whole check away on the slot machines. So I learned from both ends of the spectrum. I learned, and that's a true thing. And so I'm one of those people where, like, I can't. I'm not the lottery ticket guy. I'll take the $200 and go, have some good booze and some food and hang out with people before betting on a game where I'm not fully sure of, and then end up, that's not my entertainment. This it's entertaining for me to do this. I love sports and I love betting, but I can't bet for entertainment. If that makes sense.
Of course. And if you're going to do this to seriously make money and profit and build a bankroll, you want to be in that category of being someone that isn't in it for entertainment and isn't in it for the action, or isn't in it to bet the Sunday night football game or the big marquee game on television. You're in it to take advantage of good numbers, good bets, good matchups, good situations.
Shout out to my buddy Ben Bush. And he's a guy, he's a musician, but he's a huge college basketball head. And that's how we ended up meeting at college. And we were talking. He grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. He's originally from Syracuse. Huge Syracuse guy. So he's all about Big Ten, ACC. I could give a shit about the Big Ten and basketball. And I'm from Chicago, live here in Minnesota, but I'm just at my conference. When I bet basketball, I look at the WAC, the Big Sky, those small conferences. I'd be lucky to find a radio feed online for them, because I can get a good information for them and I can get a good feel. And those numbers aren't heavily hit as the, Syracuse, North Carolina, or the Wisconsin, Minnesota game. So that's something with when you talk about those bigger sports, that's my approach in college sports. I'd rather, it's funny, I'm not involved in this FCS season, but I follow FCS schools. One of the biggest bets I've ever had in college football in my life was Yale taking on Army about a few years ago. And they lined this game everywhere. This is before, DraftKings, FanDuel, and everybody, but they lined this game at every book in Vegas because Yale and Army is a rivalry that goes back about 120 years. And this was the 100th anniversary of the Yale Bowl, the stadium in which Yale, the Bulldogs, play in. Yale was a 14-point underdog. Yale played a more up-tempo offense than Army's triple option. Most people didn't know that. I was all over Yale money line, plus 350, plus 14.5. I'll never forget it. That game went into overtime. Yale wins outright. And people are just like, what? How the hell did you hit that? And I'm just like, well, I know I've watched Yale on TV a couple of times, and I know I watch Army all the time. No Army, it's a triple option. It's, plug and play. Whoever they have, it's the same old plays. But this Yale team is actually a lot more up-tempo than most people think. They just think FCS, and they think it's slow plodding, guys who can't play football. They're there because, they're just great students. They were actually a pretty good football team here. And actually, their running back, trying to think of his name, he actually ended up playing for the Indianapolis Colts that next season. He was at the preseason. I think he got a couple of games in the regular season as well. So.
Yeah, I'm going to get a little more, not degen, but a little more adventurous. Let's put it that way. I hate using that word degen, man. Adventurous. A little more excitement. Those are better words. Doesn't degen make it sound like you're going to be thrown in the clink or something, thrown in prison or something?
Degen sounds like you've been drinking Goldschlager and you're trying to find some good crack on the street.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they use that term in Letterkenny all the time too.
Yeah, right. The degens. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great show. I've seen Letterkenny getting mentioned in the chat. Yeah, I don't know if any of you fall into that category. You shouldn't. You've been asleep. You've been living under a rock for the last 5 years. If you have not watched the show yet, but if any of you fall into that category where you have not watched an episode of Letterkenny, get to fixing that quickly.
And it's available. It's funny. I was watching it. I remember me and you, Ian, talking about it. I was watching it through an illegal stream because it wasn't available on Hulu.
Before Hulu, yeah.
Right. And so I've always been following. It's hilarious. And me living in Minnesota, Minnesota's got a lot of Canadian qualities. There's a lot in that show that I've definitely seen here in the States since I've moved here. And so it's a relatable show, and it's absolutely hysterical. So we got the second period coming back now. Another a minute 35 left for the Penguins power play.
We do, and I've just jumped in on Jake Guentzel to score, not to score any time. Jake Guentzel to score the next goal, the fourth goal of the hockey game at plus 550. So basically, Pittsburgh's got to score, and it's got to be him. So Jake Guentzel plus 550. Very, very small amount. For me, this is like the first period bet. Pittsburgh to score in the first 10 minutes plus 300 was 0.1 unit. This is like 0.04. So it's very tiny. But still, it pays out a little decently if it cashes. So there we go. Jake Guentzel to score essentially the next goal of the game plus 550.
It's 550. That can't be like the true odds of that. Like that's an insane bet. Like I like I said, shout out to Bet365 for even offering that. That's wild to have like that kind of pinpoint.
Fourth goal scorer is what the category is. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're the pioneer. I would say they're the pioneers of live betting because just the things you've mentioned tonight. Like I said, we don't really talk during live betting during the regular season. The options that you have, I've never seen those even for the offshore books. That's unheard of, and that's something that, I mean, that would get probably out of hand. Honestly, if you had those at some of the major books like that, that's really kind of next level. And honestly, honestly, the books I use, I wouldn't want to deal with that because the limits would be even lower. There's no way I would get 550 with the books that I deal with on that kind of a prop. Even like I said, those aren't even true odds. The true odds that would probably be somewhere in the 4-figure range. But it's cool that they offer it.
Well, what have they got for fourth goal scorer right now? They've got Crosby plus 550, Russ plus 650, and now they've moved Guentzel to plus 600, of course, because there's just no action going on. Reinhart plus 1100. So then those are the three, and then you get to the 4 figures where it's 11-1 or greater on Reinhart and beyond. Crosby, Guentzel, Rust are all 6-1 right now.
Okay.
Next goal, yep.
Guentzel to the bench looking a little soft. Well, there's a couple of guys on that Pittsburgh bench looking a little iffy. That's a show right there.
Gensel's been rocking it lately. I mean, he scored a goal in 6 of the last 8 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But this is different kettle of fish here. This is him trying to score the next goal. And, that's definitely rolling the dice.
Oh, it's Kasperi Kapanen that was limping on
Kapanen was limping. Yeah, right. You could see him. He was slow getting off the ice there. So watch out for that.
Buffalo Sabres plus 450 live.
Yep. Well, they're hanging around. I mean, that's the key, and they got to keep it.
You're seeing it was Kapanen's laying face down in the tunnel. Not sure what the hell that's about. That's got to be a muscle cramp for him to be doing that. That's a muscle cramp.
Well, he's sitting up on the bench now, and he's not going to the back to the.
That clip they just showed, he was like laying face down. So that's got to be some kind of muscle cramp or something that he was just trying to stretch out. But we'll keep an eye on him and Gensel, because Gensel looked a little weird when he was getting off the ice as well.
Well, if you've been playing the fucking condensed schedule and all the games in the short period of time these teams have been playing this year, no wonder you're going to get fucking muscle cramps.
Yeah, exactly. And what's fun? I'm gonna tell you something. This is something my whole family watches sports. And my parents, my mom and dad, mom's a nurse, dad was a doctor. My mom always says, why don't they have oxygen tanks, mini oxygen tanks on the bench? You see it in football all the time. You never see it in hockey. In hockey, you'd think that guys would need some, a hit of oxygen. Especially after a long shift on a power play. I know no answer
in them in their sails. Yeah, exactly right.
So I don't know why that is. I mean, it's got to be a cost. It can't be a cost issue. Shit, the NHL spends money on everything. So I don't know. I don't know why that's the case, man. If that ever happens, give credit to my mom for that one, because she said that literally for the last 5 years. My mom just started watching hockey when the Hawks started getting good. So in the last decade, I was the only Hawks fan in the family forever. And I got my whole family in Washington. But that's something she's always mentioned, that why don't they have oxygen? I have no idea, but that's...
Is it because the benches aren't big? Is there's not enough room?
You get personal oxygen. My grandma had a personal oxygen tank that was about this big. So they could have 8 of those circling around. Obviously now with COVID would be a little weird, but before COVID they still didn't have that'd be harder to do now. But pre-COVID, to have an oxygen tank and a mask floating around the bench, why not?
Yeah, especially because you wear your ass out.
Oh, here we go. 59 Earth says players on bench have personal cans. Okay, so there's cans that they have. Didn't know that.
Okay, all right.
It's funny that we never see that. We always see the guys with the smelling salts before games. I've seen
that. Yeah. Can't get an oxygen mask when you're short of breath. But hey, if you want some
so they're like aerosol cans. I've never seen that.
Ooh, good save, Jari, there on Taylor Hall. That's probably his first thing he's done in this game. That's the problem with Taylor Hall, man. Could you even see him on the ice? And could you find him with a telescope in the first period?
No,
not at all. Yeah,
and it wasn't a good shot.
Yeah, I mean, it was half-hearted. I mean, that's an easy save when there's no traffic in front, no screen. Jari's well out beyond the blue paint, beyond the crease. It's an easy save to make. Try to make a deep move or elevate the puck.
Because they're called boost bottles. Everyone's saying in the chat. So I didn't know that. So I have to relay that now. But I've always wondered that too. So I was like, because I'm like, these guys get gassed. A 2-minute shift is exhausting. But okay, so they do have something for that.
Positive first 5 minutes of the period for the Sabres. They finished off the penalty kill that carried over from the first period of that Penguin power play, and now they've had a couple shifts in the Penguin zone. So. Not bad for the Sabres.
Buffalo plus 138 to score the next goal. Penguins minus 163. We'll probably have one more shift before the 15-minute TV timeout.
He got an assist, Hall, on the goal, but again, that's only because he won the faceoff. So, that was one of those faceoff plays. He won the faceoff. That's why he got an assist. He really didn't do much. And then the puck came back to Dahlin, and he scores. Yeah.
I got to hit the can and grab another champagne, so I'll be right back.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, thanks, Born, to DRM. Appreciate you checking in. And everybody for tuning in to this live betting show, our first of many. We're going to be doing this a lot in April. This is the only one we're going to do here in March. There's only a week left in March. But once the NCAA tournament is over and we get into that second week in April and beyond, we're going to be trying to do this weekly, one night a week. Every week, the rest of the regular season, into the playoffs as well. We definitely plan on doing these live betting shows here on the Ice Guys once a week. I wouldn't want to do more than once a week. I'm typically not a big live betting contributor person. I don't love doing them like I would never do them every single night. Heck, I wouldn't even do them every other night. Once a week is plenty for me. More than good enough. And that's probably what we'll end up doing here with the Ice Guys Betcast. One night a week. We're definitely going to go more on nights where there's more games than just the one. But hey, this game has turned out to be better than we thought. So we can be very thankful for that, because I'll tell you what, 24 hours ago, knowing that Edmonton-Montreal was canceled and Pittsburgh and Buffalo was going to be the only game taking place 8 p.m. Eastern at this time tonight, prospects weren't looking really good. You miss Rick Jenneret, Duck. Yeah, I mean, it's a national TV game, so you don't get the Sabres don't have their local television broadcast with Rick Jenneret and Rob Ray. But yeah, you get Rick Jenneret with Stu Barnes to flex it in. Yeah, I mean, you got to love Rick Jenneret back in the day with Stu Barnes, and you go la 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 Fontaine. Oh, for Buffalo, yeah. Rick Jenneret is a classic. One of my favorites of all time. The passion, the dedication. This guy's fucking dealt with, the cancer in his throat. Lots of health issues. He almost had a heart attack in the broadcast booth just recently. And this guy just won't say no for an answer. You'd think at some point, man, pack it in. You're in your 80s now. Enough. But not this guy. He loves the team. He loves what he does. He's got a passion for it. He's been doing it for 50 years. This is 50 years now of Rick Jenneret with the Sabres. That's how long he's been doing it. It's been an unbelievable run. Penguins, by the way, back on the power play. We forgot to update that. But yeah, they're on the power play now.
Ian, you grew up as a Sabres. That was your team growing up, right?
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite team in the NHL, this is it. And I think people knew that. I haven't mentioned it as much vocally and publicly lately because it's an embarrassment right now, this team. To be honest, yes, definitely. And Rick Jenneret is the reason I became a Sabres fan. It's more that I loved his style of broad. He was entertaining. He'd lose his mind during a fight. You talk about a guy that got into fights. Rick Jenneret got you look up any Buffalo Sabres fight from like the 90s and 2000s and even beyond before that. Rick Jenneret's just right into it. It's like he got as excited for fights as much, if not more, than goals being scored. Yeah, you don't get that from every announcer.
I have a bunch of fight DVDs. Shout out to my buddy Tom. Today's his birthday too, so happy birthday, Tom. He does a lot of video work. He does video work for teams too, but he has a video collection that's insane, and he converted all the DVD. And this was during the lockout, the 2012 lockout. I bought about maybe 150 fight DVDs for different teams, different fighters. Like I have this insane collection that spent like maybe $350 on it. And it's all for a good cause too. He's helping his family out and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, like he got all he has old Hawks games that I'd never seen. Like, of course, Hawks weren't a lot of home games weren't on TV. So there's a lot of Hawks history that happened in the United Center, Chicago Stadium. I never got to see it in my life. I have them on DVD now. But I got a Buffalo Sabres fight DVD from the 90s. I got a Rob Ray one. I got a couple of other guys, and it's like, yeah. So hearing Jenneret on those calls, I'm like, yeah, he literally made the fight. He was like a good boxing commentator. I don't know if he ever called boxing, but he would have been really good at calling fights for sure.
You sure would have. I mean, you all you got to do is YouTube Snow Shields. Just type in Snow Shields. Garth Snow and Steve Shields back in the day, dropping the gloves in a Sabre Flyer game, and you hear Rick Jenneret. He's losing his voice. His voice cracks all the time, but especially during that fight. Beautiful, wonderful. I never get sick of hearing that and seeing that whole brawl with the Sabres and the Flyers. It's great stuff. A penalty killed by the Sabres, so still 2-1 Pittsburgh, and we're gonna have a TV timeout. 11:50 to go. Guentzel almost had a redirection goal on that power play. So it came close, that fourth goal score, Guentzel right there. Almost got it on that power play. But yes, it's settled. Caitlin Caputo, 0 goals this period. A lot of times I'm seeing that lately. I'm seeing that a lot lately, Alex, after especially a 2-1 first period. And you won't see a goal right away in the second period. We saw it with New Jersey and Philadelphia last night. It was 2-1 after the first period. And I think we nearly went to the end of the second period until we saw the next goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does happen a lot.
That does happen a lot. It's happening again here. I still think Pittsburgh does score the next goal, but again, that's the problem with this particular game. The next goal prop for the Penguins is always going to be juiced. It's always going to be hard to find value. It's minus 160, more than that in a lot of spots as well. That's why I did what I did in the first period with the plus 300 in the first 10 minutes. I might get involved in the back half of the period, 30 minutes to 40 minutes of the game, as it's labeled on Bet365. Will a team score in that 10-minute swatch of time, just like I did in the first 10 minutes of the game? I might get involved with that for Pittsburgh, but I'm going to wait a little bit. It's only plus 110 as of right now. Let's wait for the price to sweeten a little bit, and then we might look into it.
And what's interesting, too, and I use these numbers from shout out to Chris Otto on Twitter at PSU Otto. He does first, second, third period numbers. Buffalo 9-1 in the last 10 in the second period, going over 1.5. 4 straight games where they've been 2 goals or more in the second period in Buffalo games. So that's something you want to take into consideration as well. I have to look deeper into the numbers to see if that they letting those goals in late in the period or early in the period. But using those numbers, always have the numbers to bet second, third period totals pregame are outrageous. Like you're laying $2, $3, $4. It's not worth it. But when you use that to adjust with live lines, that's what I use that information for. So that's sometimes a way to look at that. But right now, both teams playing good defense, and some redirects kind of that right there. The redirect.
God damn it, man! Gensel was close, Alex. Yeah. Did you see that? That was close to being a read. That was a good play. The Buffalo defense, I think it was Montour, Brandon Montour. He got a stick in there, and that prevented Gensel from getting everything on that one.
Yeah,
that close. I mean, we got plus 550 cooking with Gensel.
All right, so everybody who's saying no goals in the first period at Bet Online, they just put second period total under a half a goal plus 170. So that's something you might want to jump on if you like that option.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt.
I'm actually going to put a little bit on that. I kind of like that a little bit.
There we go.
It's risky because you're talking about one goal, but
yep.
I'm going to play it pretty small. Let's change to 160 now.
Let me give you a couple I'm going to grab my phone. I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to give you some updated shots on goal numbers, because this is going to get me this is what I always look at during a game when I'm betting live goal scorer props. I want guys that are getting their shots, getting their chances, getting some looks on net. I don't want guys that have been invisible all night, that haven't done anything, done jack shit. I want guys that are actually making an impact. So I'm going to check some updated shots on goal numbers here and just on the phone. So I'll grab that and be right back.
Yeah. I'll keep you guys all engaged in the chat. I'm actually reading the chat comments. I can't type that fast right now, but great to see you guys all interacting in the chat. I got 67 viewers right now. Cool. Hope everyone's enjoying the content and enjoying their beverages and different things. So.
Yeah, we are, and we're running out, but we're gonna have a second.
What beer are you drinking?
We're not nursing one fucking mug of beer for the whole 2.5 hours during this game.
I am nursing one beer, but I'm on my second champagne, and I'm about to take my 4th shot of whiskey. So, yes, in theory, I am nursing a beer. But
we'll remind people this is only a Wednesday night. After Alex just said that, yeah,
right, exactly, yeah, right, exactly. We're not even in the weekend, so for sure.
Yeah. Alex is one of the best drinkers I've ever met, and still to this day, he can go toe to toe, head to head with anybody.
And what's funny is that I drink so much less than when Ian first met. This is a great story. Ian first met me. We met out in Vegas. We talked online. We met out in Vegas for the this is Super Contest seminar back in the day, and I've had to take like 3 different flights to get out to Vegas. It was some weird shit. I had to land in like Denver, then going to Phoenix, and I hate traveling. So I was jet lagged as all shit. We're out drinking, and we're hitting bars. And I remember at one point I had maybe a half a glass of like Jameson on the rocks, and I damn near like fell like my face into it. And it wasn't that I was drunk, and I was just and I looked at it, and I'm like, this glass would have been gone 20 minutes ago. I'm like, I'm just that fucking tired from traveling. And he's just like, I know. He's like, I can already tell. He's like, you've been drinking quite a bit. And so ever since then, we've always been joking around. And yeah, I drink way less now, going on 32, than I did 10 years ago. It's insane. And people look at me like, how do you drink less? Like, you drink a lot. And I'm just like, oh, if you were around in 2010, 2012, you'd be like, what does he do? Like, I mean, I was a musician. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't doing anything with numbers or talking to people online or any of that. So I could, put it away pretty fast. But I can still hold my own at 32, so 31.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you're like that closer, and he's in his 40s. You can still rear back and fire that fastball every now and then. We've still got it. We can still hit the radar gun.
Can't drink the same shit. I'm not drinking Fireball and Jägermeister and all that. I'm leaving that for the kids. Shout out to Clint in the chat and one of our loyal followers. He drinks the Fireball for like all the UFC. I go, how on earth? I'm like I'm missing an organ. In fact, yesterday was the 90th anniversary of me having my gallbladder taken out. I'm pretty sure Fireball is half the reason why I don't have that in my body right now. I'm just like, that shit is rough. Like, if you can handle it, so be it. But man, oh man, that cinnamon will eat you alive at some point.
I've actually done Fireball whiskey before, and it is. It's you got to have some stomach for it for sure. It is. It's like this. I don't know. It's like when the volcano hits and the ground basically tears in two. It's kind of like your stomachs and your intestines are being torn in two when that cinnamon whiskey goes down that gullet.
Just like that. Everybody talk about champagne. I'm drinking cooked champagne, by the way, which is dirt cheap. But what's funny is somebody's asking like, "Oh, you got orange juice?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, if I had orange juice, I'd be in a world of pain right now. Like, I'd rather have this bubbly alcohol than have that insane acid that is orange. Orange juice is just. I mean, hell, if you drink orange juice by itself at 8 in the morning for breakfast, you're asking for a bit of trouble, honestly.
You're going to be in a little bit of difficulty, exactly.
Especially the people who like their pulp in their orange juice. I don't understand that one bit. It's like really like you like it's like eating a hamburger with the paper wrapper still on it.
Yes. No, I mean when you're looking at the Penguins right now, we've got Crosby, Rust with 3 shots. For the Penguins, Letang with 3. For the Sabres, you've got Dahlin and Montour from the blue line with 2. See, that's the guy that stands out to me. And look he's got 4 shots. Sam Reinhart, and he's the guy that's always been that threat. He'd be the one I would bet. And I said that at the beginning, that Sam Reinhart, if you're going to take someone on the Sabres, he might be that player to bet from a goal-scoring prop standpoint. But someone asking in the chat, definitely I use natural stat trick. Look, for the longest time, I was anti-analytics and anti, incorporating them at all into my handicap. But now there's a couple I like. I still don't think there's some of those analytic statistics that are overrated, like Corsi and puck possession. But what if you don't do anything with the puck? You can have the puck all you want. What are you doing with it? Are you generating? Are you getting those chances? And specifically, are you getting those high danger chances? Because you got teams with all kinds of great puck possession numbers, but they don't have half the high danger chances that some teams that have maybe a little bit less puck possession are getting. So that's why you've got I factor in more. I think the goals for and against is big. I think it's good to keep an eye on that. Goals for percentage. No. More than chances for. Goals for is important because then you're seeing, are they getting it really from those chances where they should score? Chances are great, but the goals for percentage, I think, is an even stronger indicator. And again, the high danger chances for, chances against. I think goals for percent and against, goals for percentage, high danger chances for and against. Those 5 right there, they're the ones I really factor in. I like those stats. I'll sort of take the others with a grain of salt.
And one thing that I don't give a shit what numbers say. I mean, the numbers at the end make sense, but you have to watch power plays. And that's something that, and everybody who's watched the show, Ian, you've heard me bitch about it with teams for years, especially with the Minnesota Wild and Chicago Blackhawks, especially the Wild this year. But teams who don't run smooth power plays, but you have to watch for that. They make those extra passes. They don't have the clean shooting lanes. They're off kilter with their power play setups. You have to watch that. No numbers will ever tell you that. You have to watch that, and you have to watch 2, 3, 4 games of that. Even if you go back and just watch tape and skip through the whole game and just watch the power plays, you have to watch that. There's no sequence in hockey that needs the eye test more than power plays.
Exactly, because no statistic or no number that's out there, even power play, 0-for-4 on the power play in a game could be lying to you completely. What if you're watching that game, you see the team get those 4 power play chances, and they're getting all kinds of opportunities, hit a couple of posts, the goalie is making a couple of big saves, but the puck movement is there, players aren't stationary, they're getting passes through the seams of the penalty killers, nobody is standing still, they're getting chances, they're getting shots, the goalie's good, they hit a post, and yet it'll show on the even in the baseline numbers, Alex, they go 0 for 4 on the power play, but you're going to assume, okay, what the hell's wrong with this power play? But if you watch that game and you see all the chances and you saw the puck movement, players moving around with the power play, and they were creative and they were generating chances. It's just they had looks, they had shots, they didn't go in. That's exactly to your point, that watching the power plays try to execute during the game means a lot. 0 for 4 on the power play won't always tell you the truth.
Nope. And that's the thing. And it doesn't matter how good the talent is. Like I said, the Wild, they had some top tier talent. The Hawks, the 2013 and 2015 Hawks won Stanley Cups with horrendous power plays going into the postseason and during the postseason. And that's the thing. And then there's some teams where they don't have, worth a damn. The Minnesota Wild's power play is awful, but their offense is great. 5-on-5, good shorthanded. If they can figure out how to, in their power play, and it's not the same issues too. Before, where they were making those extra passes and they weren't taking the quality shots, where now they just don't have a good, entry position. And that's a big thing I watch too. How you enter the zone. Are you a dump and chase team? You skate it in. Are you passing more on the blue line or passing down low? Like I said, those are all things you got to watch for. You can't. There's no way to quantify that with a stat sheet.
Yeah, it's definitely 100% true. I mean, that's where, your guys that just barely know any players and don't watch any of the games, and they look at the numbers and they see the power play struggling. Well, maybe that one game that you're looking at, they didn't struggle. They had chances. It was just puck didn't go in. There's a difference between 0 for 4 and not getting a sniff in terms of quality looks at the net, and 0 for 4 and just having all kinds of opportunities and getting stoned by the goalie or hitting the post a couple of times. So that's exactly why watching the games in those situations can be beneficial. Yeah. Another TV timeout coming up here.
Is it? Okay. Well, it looks 6 minutes.
No, it's actually, we're not quite at the TV timeout.
We got probably 1-2 more shifts before. Yeah. And that's something you got to learn. If you're live betting, you got to know about Kapanen and now walking to the locker room.
Okay, well, now I'm thinking to myself right now as I see Kapanen going down the tunnel to the dressing room. Thank goodness I only was thinking about betting his goal scoring prop before the third period. We might not see it at this point in the third period.
Yeah.
That didn't look good.
No, it didn't. And whatever it is, it's something that's lower body. I don't know, like I said, it's got to be a cramp because the way he was stretching out and laid down earlier, but he's hobbling. So I don't think it seems something muscular. Hopefully that's the case and not anything more structural. Shots on goal 29-17 in favor of the Penguins. Yeah, 6:05. Yeah, so we got one more shift before TV timeout.
Yeah, exactly. Under 6 timeout. The timeouts are under 14, under 10, and under 6 in every period. Yeah.
Oh, the penalty.
Yep. To Buffalo.
Buffalo plus
Pittsburgh. Sorry. Yep. Pittsburgh penalty to Marino. Yep.
Buffalo plus 125 next goal regulation. If you want to grab that, you got to grab it fast. I'm not going to do that because that's going to go against my under half goal for the period. But that's something if you're in that boat, grab it quicker. Under a half goal now is at minus 141, by the way. So and Buffalo's power play. Yeah, shit. I can go against that. So
it's 0 for 22.
Yeah,
the Buffalo power play. That's the run for the Sabres. Power play.
Penguins minus 25 to score next goal is probably a better bet. Even if you think they're not going to score at the end of this period, you're not going to get that at the beginning of the third. So if you like Penguins to score next at all, that's
Melissa Getzlaf is still alive. Yeah, to score the fourth goal, we're still alive with that at plus 550. And you're right, he's had a couple chances. The one that was the redirect on the power play, that was the one where it was a great chance and there goes the Buffalo power play. It ended just as quickly as it started.
Unreal. This team just can't get out of their own way, honestly.
Like they get a power play chance to tie the game, and that's just a bad penalty by Dahlin. I mean, move your feet, man, behind the net. Win the battle to the loose puck. Get body position. You're the defenseman. Get body position. Get your feet moving. Don't take those lazy stick infractions. It's very simple.
See, here you go. Penguins now minus 163 to score the next goal. That value went way out of the window now at this point. So
yeah, that's the
floating line kind of.
You actually got to tip your cap to the odds makers. They're actually better on the ball with this stuff with the live lines than they are pregame.
It's computers. It's computer. Don't give them that much credit. This is all that is. It is all computers.
No.
Unless computers
are
making the numbers, but then they're hitting the button because listen, I've gotten shut out of especially during the NBA playoffs. There was
the machine is making it,
right? But there's somebody at that machine that's controlling it because I tried to make some game to go in the overtime plays in the NBA playoffs, and as soon as I'm typing in how much I want to bet, it's frozen. Oh, it's locked. It's gone. It's like really. It's like because you realize you put up a bullshit number of 10-1 when it's tied. With 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like you don't want to get killed. Even a $10 bet will kill you. So.
Yeah, some of you all know Gabe Morency, our good friend. He's convinced that when he bets on some of these books, they're spying on him. They know his IP address, and they know when he's going to bet and what game he's going to bet because he says every time I like something live, I'm about to hit the bet and the thing freezes on me, and I miss out. And sure enough,
it sounds crazy, but
conspiracy theories. Yeah,
because I'm gonna tell you something, especially. I've been getting some good numbers tonight because I'm on the laptop with BOL. But when I'm on the phone, I think they're on to me a little bit. So I'm not gonna rule that out. That's not as far fetched as it might sound.
Someone asking, isn't +1.5 the dumbest bet you can make? I can't even remember the last time I bet +1.5 puck line pregame, and even in game I don't do it very often because if the team that's down by a goal, the empty net is such a risk.
It's not that dumb of a bet nowadays because see, here's the thing, and even before I started betting, but definitely between 2012 and 2015, I was making a lot of money with puck lines laying 1.5. But teams now, for some reason, are not shooting at the empty net. They're missing empty nets. They're just trying to clear the puck and let it roll just to get over the opponent's blue line and kill clock. That wasn't the case. Teams were actually hitting the empty nets back in the day. And Cash was one house that made that +1.5 a bad bet. But now it's not that bad of a bet because teams aren't trying to go for that empty net because if it goes past, then it's an icing, offensive zone draw, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and you're right a little bit about that. There's a lot of teams that they don't even try for the empty net.
Empty net magic
doesn't always try.
No.
Yeah.
I was cashing overs and first and puck lines with those empty net goals left and right. And now when I need them for live plays or what have you, they're not there. It's frustrating. Oh. Wait.
No goal, no.
Offside?
High stick made contact with the puck before the shot came. So yeah, no goal.
Oh, the entry in the zone entry, that was a high stick? I gotta see that. I want to see the replay of that. Let's see. Oh, that really?
Well, where was the stick when it hit the puck?
You can call it a high because he hit that with the shaft of his stick.
It was the shaft. It wasn't the blade.
I think that's no. That should not be a high stick call. That is incidental contact, and that is with the shaft, not the blade. That should not be a high stick. That should actually be a good goal. I don't know if you can challenge that. That should be a good goal.
Now you can challenge to make it like if it's a goal and then it was hit with a high stick, you can challenge.
Right.
But can you challenge when it was called a high stick? You can't.
And they can't know. And heaven forbid the NHL starts expanding the challenge rules to where it's like the NFL level. But that should be challengeable, and that should have been a goal.
Well, if you can challenge, yeah, exactly. If you can challenge that, hey, that was a high stick to take a goal away. Why can't you challenge? Hey, that wasn't a high stick to make the goal stand, right?
If that was in front of the net and it hit where the shaft of the stick where it hit right then, that would not have been a high stick. That would have been a good goal. So that's why that should be a challengeable play.
And we're just going off the blind eye right here. The naked eye, the blind eye with that particular angle. It looked like to me that puck hit the shaft of the stick in a spot where it was below the crossbar at that time, which is always the key. Below the height of the crossbar.
I'll take it because I'm on this under half goal right now. But those are the things that the NHL needs to look at the end of the season. That this will probably just get lost in the shuffle. But that's something that needs to be, because what constitutes a high stick? What constitutes a catch? That's the kind of thing. Hitting the shaft and hitting the blade intentionally, those are way too. That's the same thing about distinct kicking motion. There should be a distinct hitting motion with your high stick.
Oh, man, Crosby with a lethal backhand, and then there was a mad scramble for loose change in front of Tokarski, and the Sabres just cleared it in the nick of time.
Gregory Ferreira in the chat saying that's a high stick. I mean, but it's not intentional, and it's yeah, in a reckless manner, it's a high stick, but to call that, and it still goes down. I think we're seeing that. Oh, that's the chance we're seeing. That could be hit and miss.
Yeah.
Like I said, would that be called a high stick if it was a shot redirected? I'm curious to know. He says yes. So, and he says he's been a ref for 20 years. So I would give you that argument for sure, Gregory. But it's something to converse about, think about.
Yeah, that was a great chance there for Pitt. I'll tell you what, this line is really good for them. Crosby, Gensel, and Rust. They have done so much of the damage for the Penguins lately. They had scored all the goals. That line scored every goal for Pittsburgh in the games they played against New Jersey in the last couple. So, and before that, they were playing well also. So those are the guys getting it done. Yeah. That to me, that's why I didn't want to say for sure it was a high stick, because we didn't see every angle. But what we did was we exposed the issue with the challenge system. Regardless of whether that was a high stick or not, the fact that in that kind of spot you couldn't challenge a call that was made a high stick to make a goal stand.
Nope.
When you can challenge, that was a high stick, and it wasn't called to take a goal away.
But then the referee's got to look at it for 10 minutes. Then they got to
score Pittsburgh. John Marino with a bomb from the point, 3-1.
He goes that half.
There goes the Gensel bet to score the fourth goal, but that's all right.
Under half goals gone. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good for the team total. Our pregame bet, given out on the Ice Guys show today, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you're not aware, if there's anyone that's just seeing us for the first time and here on this Betcast, we're on 7 days a week, 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday, noon Eastern, Saturday and Sunday. I like Pittsburgh team total over 3.5, so that goal helps that out. Good shot for them. This guy's a really good defenseman, John Marino. Really good. He's going to have a good career. He's been excellent in just the first couple of years. Yep, great screen in front too. Took away the eyes, took away the vision of Tokarski, or as Don Cherry called him years ago, Dustin Koharski. Got him mixed up with the old referee.
I remember
that. Koharski. Oh man, I mean, you got to watch that. Don Cherry, like name pronunciations. Yeah. Oh man, you're gonna just kill yourself.
It's funny. I watched again the clip of Daryl Sutter's quotes from his press clip. I watched that late last night.
Yeah, that was great too. Hilarious. Yeah, it is. It is. It's the. I like how he's like. It's all right. I don't know how I got over that loss last night. It's just. I don't know how I'll ever survive. It's just. I don't know how I'm going to get myself to live past that yet. Oh man, I hate when they're in the slot like that and miss the net completely. That's an issue across the league. That happens a lot. It's almost like, hey, we got to practice some. Melissa, I don't like under 6 right now, and I'll tell you why. This game, if it ends 3-1 this second period, it falls into that strategy of live betting going into the third period that I love, which is third period over. Buffalo's got to open up. They got to go full bore. Everything but the kitchen sink at the net toward Tristan Jarry, down by 2 goals, and you've got the threat of an empty netter. In the final couple minutes, as long as the margin is 2 or less, you're going to get the goalie pulled. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. No. Good luck if you bet it, and if you love it that much, bet it, but not for me.
No. 6.5 under 159 is available at Bet Online. It's a bit steep, but if you like the under, go ahead. That extra 38 cents for the half goal. Maybe that's a little bit more than you like.
Here's the one thing I'll say about Melissa's opinion, though. This is the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, yeah.
So, they could have all the chances and go full bore and throw everything at the net against Jarry as they want. Can they finish? Can they put something in the net?
Right. And that's also, too,
an unknown.
They go into into the dressing room. Here we go again. Down 2 goals. Okay. Yep. We've been through this for the last month and a half. Do they bounce back and come out hot? or do they just say, well, this is the same old shit, and then fold it in? So that's what you got to kind of worry about, and that's why. So now here we are, average 55 seconds. I could still bet live, but I'm gonna wait. If I can't get anything, unless it's the last minute of play in regulation, I'm just gonna wait until the third period to see what happens, what changes are made in the locker room.
Well, you mentioned that Buffalo second period over trend. You get a goal in this last 40 seconds, it'll continue. Yep. Because that's what's needed for the second period over is a goal right here and now for the Sabres in these final 30 seconds. Power play would carry over, though, to the third period. And, of course, they fumble it. Oh, we might get a Pittsburgh.
Breakaway?
What a play.
Are you kidding me?
What a beautiful play there. But to find Zach Aston Reese trailing the play, and instead of shoot the puck, and Tokarski had gotten over to cut down the angle on the shooter, he ends up passing it to Aston Reese. What a wonderful play that was.
That is
shorthanded goal, Pittsburgh. 4-1.
Buffalo now 10-1 to the second period over, last 11, and now 5 straight with that goal. I mean,
what a rough night for Dahlin.
He's standing up literally by the side of the net. Like he's just baffled by that.
Unbelievable. What a play that was. That was Frederic Gaudreau. No relation to Johnny because he's from Quebec. Frederic Gaudreau with that excellent play to Zach Aston Reese. Well, I shouldn't say Dahlin did. Dahlin did get the first goal for Buffalo, but his second period has been dreadful. He takes a bad penalty, a lazy penalty in the offensive zone to wipe out a Buffalo power play. And then he just totally, coughs up the puck at the blue line, can't hold the zone on the power play, and then just gets beaten there down the ice. Terrible period for Rasmus Dahlin.
Penguins now minus $33,333 on the money line to win at this point, going into the dressing room.
You got to have $1 million even to get a smidgen of profit.
Yeah. And that's and that might actually be the true line there, because this Buffalo team, that's a backbreaker. When you're on a 14-game losing streak and you give up that goal shorthanded, 20-something seconds left in the period, that's when you start worrying about where's the mindset. Now shit can get out of hand. Now you start, once again, that under is way in trouble, because now, it could be all hands on deck, and we might see a bunch of goals from Pittsburgh moving forward in this last period.
Yep, and a Pittsburgh team total over cashed. Yep, that was pregame for me, 3.5. So that gets there. Good stuff indeed. All right, so 4-1 Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden, the 2-1 game with Buffalo, putting up a decent fight, at least a decent battle, some resistance. And it's amazing when you've lost 14 in a row like this, you have one really bad, sloppy 4-minute sequence like the Sabres had to end that second period. And now you're looking at 4-1 when it was just 2-1 a few minutes ago. That's what happens when you're struggling. When you can't get out of this funk, that's what happens to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we'll give you some updates here on live in-game stuff as we head into the third period of this game, with now the Sabres found up against it. Pretty much an insurmountable task now for them, trying to erase this deficit and avoid a franchise record 15th consecutive loss. But we're looking at it, we know the money line's outrageous. Can't touch it either way. Buffalo ain't coming back to win in this game, and minus 40,000 on Pittsburgh on the money line. Pittsburgh
50,000,
minus 3.5 plus 115. That actually might be the one, just to see if it gets away from the Sabres entirely. But I don't know. The value's not great. Plus 3.5, minus 145 with the Sabres on the in-game handicap, or the in-game puck line, whatever you want to call it. Total 6.5. The over shaded to minus 185. The under plus 155 here in this. What else have we got? We've got
Penguins next goal in regulation plus 100. Sabres plus 138. I could see the Penguins coming out hot and putting the dagger in this one early in this period, making it 5-1. So even money might be the best chance you get, especially because they're shorthanded, still. So, that will bounce back and be a favorite price once the penalty's killed. So
both teams to score. in the third period, minus 160.
That's not bad.
Not bad. That's not bad. I considered that, but can Buffalo score? I mean, that's the thing. That's what I
Yeah.
keep coming back to. We got to trust Buffalo to contribute. If that was all Pittsburgh goals,
The
I'd
reason
love
why
it.
that's not bad, and I'd like that a little bit lower, but that's not too bad because, like I said, if this gets out of hand, let's say Pittsburgh goes and scores first. Now it's 5-1. Well, now they're going to throw caution to the wind. The defense is out of the window at all at this point, and it's going to be Buffalo trying to score. We've seen them get some offensive pace. They haven't converted, but if they can keep that pace that they've had all night offensively down 5-1, they could get that second goal, especially with Jari giving up the rebound. He's still been giving up some rebounds. 5-1 walk away kind of game, then that's when that second goal could kind of trickle in. So second period, I wouldn't look at something like that, but now third period, it might be something like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the current over 6.5. What is it? We're at 5 right now. That's minus 185. Both teams to score. Oh, there we go. That's minus 160. Yeah, yes, minus one. Like Buffalo did score 2 goals, bang bang, early third period, down 3-1 against the Rangers the other night. But again, they were down by 2 going into the third period. There's still a little.
And that was the Rangers.
This is 3 now. This is a 3-goal deficit. You know, they still have that same spark and that same, just come out of the dressing room storming at the beginning of the third period like they did the other night against the Rangers. I'm not sure on that. They're still getting pretty dominated in the stats here. Let me bring up our folks at Natural Stat Trick and see what they've got here through the first 2 periods of this game from a advanced numbers perspective, because we know in terms of the shots right now, it's pretty lopsided in terms of Pittsburgh. All right, here we go. So overall for the game in this one, the Penguins, 9 high danger chances for, 4 against, expected goals for 1.71, expected goals against 0.82, 67.49% Penguins, 32.51% Buffalo. That's pretty telling sign that, hey, you're controlling the game. If you're the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, 4 high danger chances in 2 periods for the Sabres. And I think some of those are, as Alex alluded to, Tristan Jarry has had some struggles with rebound control tonight. So, Natural Stat Trick, Galactical Collision. That's an interesting YouTube name. I like it. naturalstattrick.com. That is the site that I'm referencing with these live. You can get live as the games are happening. And you want to make sure it's 5-on-5, even strength. You want to eliminate the power play and penalty kill numbers skewing things. This is a 5-on-5 even strength, these numbers. That gives you a pretty good gauge of the way the flow of the game is going. Like it paints a very clear picture right now. With the Penguins, 9-4 edge and high danger chances, 1.71 to 0.82 expected goal margin, and 67.49% Penguin expected goals 4%, and a 32.51 Sabres expected goals 4%. It's a pretty clear picture based on those advanced numbers that Penguins are controlling the game. They've got the better of the play, better high danger chances, better quality opportunities. And this is one of those games where 4-1 sometimes for a team, they have no business leading 4-1. They actually should be losing. This ain't one of those cases. Penguins deserve the 4-1 lead.
Yeah, somebody was saying that they're lucky it's not 7-1 Penguins, and that's honest.
But or not with these numbers, it could be 5 or 6-1 Pittsburgh. There's no question. I mean, these are when you get 67% to 32% in the expected goal for percentage, that much of a difference. Like even in games where teams control the play, you'll get maybe 59 to 41, 60 to 40. This is 67 and change to 32 and change. That is a clear illustration that Pittsburgh's controlling the game.
For
Simple
sure.
as that. Late games. Good. The people asking in the late games. Yeah, if you didn't watch the show earlier today, we like the Winnipeg Jets tonight. I like them just on the money line, minus 140. They're up to minus 145. There was actually some belief potentially the Canucks could actually have Horvat and Brandon Sutter back tonight. They did skate this morning for the Canucks. That happened after we were on the air. So you want to keep an eye on that. Do they play or not tonight? They were at the morning skate. That was Travis Green did not say for sure that they would play tonight, either guy, Horvat or Brandon Sutter for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. So it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on closer to puck drop tonight in this game. They were both listed as day-to-day. As of yesterday, it was looking like they were both doubtful. But the fact they participated in the morning skate today means there's still a chance they could play against the Jets. You know what? They're going to be hitting the ice for the pregame skate in about probably 10 minutes from now. So we're going to know before we wrap up this live betcast if they're going to play both of those guys, Sutter and Horvat. Sutter, they'll miss him for sure. Horvat, absolutely. That's the big one. That's the captain of the team, plays in all situations. And if they're without Horvat and Sutter, that's two of their top 4 centers. We talked about it on the show today. Their center ice depth could really, really be taking a hit tonight in this game if neither of those guys suit up. The other game we like, LA Kings against San Jose. That one's starting actually in half an hour as well. It's the final game of the NBC Sports Network triple header today. I like LA. San Jose's 2-10 off a win in their last 12. I don't trust them to win 2 in a row. I don't think they're that good either. San Jose. They played a little bit better lately, but Blues have been kind of struggling. They've taken advantage of some situations for them. The Kings, to me, have been a good, resilient team, bouncing back in a lot of situations after a loss. They've done it many times. Remember, they lost to Anaheim, Alex, and it was a terrible game. I couldn't believe how bad they played. And then they came back the next game, the LA Kings, against that same Anaheim team. And that night, they actually went with Troy Grosnick in net because Peterson couldn't play and Quick wasn't playing. Right. And they beat Anaheim, and they played a really great game after the first loss to Anaheim. I see the same thing tonight. They lost the first game to San Jose. They bounced back. As I mentioned, it's 2-10 in the last 12 for the Sharks off a win. That shows you that the lack of ability to put wins together, put good games together. So I like the Kings, and I know Alex likes that side as well.
One shaky point of note, though, it is Martin Jones starting in that now. We've all both been critical of him over the years, but he was drafted by the LA Kings, and in his career against them, 15-5-3, 2.26 goals against, 9.925 save percentage, and a shutout. So he has played well against them, and I think he's made more starts against LA than he has any other team in his career. So that's one slight cause of concern, but even then, still, he's such a mediocre goalie that you could halfway through.
Yeah, but then you realize that's Martin Jones, and the Martin Jones of the last couple of years, not so.
Other goalies with that kind of a number, that would be like, oh, I might be looking at that, but with him, you could still, you can't just. That's not gospel for sure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure, no question. So yeah, we like the Kings, we like the Jets. Nothing on the totals of either two. I'd lean over in the Kings Sharks game. I'd lean under in the Jets Canucks game. I think the Canucks really, with the injuries too, they've got to try to play as tight and low scoring as possible. That's just the way it's got to be, with Pettersson still out as well, Tanner Pearson out as well for the Vancouver Canucks, 2 of their top 6 forwards. So yeah, definitely from a totals perspective in the Vancouver game, I'd lean under. But for me, I just bet the sides in both of those games, LA and Winnipeg.
Someone in the chat's talking about decimal odds. Now, Ian, I know you're in Canada and you have a better grasp of the metric system than I do. I don't know the metric system when buying, things of the smokable sort. But people for decimal odds, I have no idea how that converts over unless I use a chart for that. But I know some people are talking about that, about how to convert decimal odds over to American.
Yeah, I'm no expert either, but I know like decimal odds of 2.0 is like plus 100. It's like even money, or around 2.0. That, and then you go from there. So 2.1 decimal odds are about plus 105, and it becomes greater underdog price. So 2 is like even money. 3.0 would be a decent amount would be a decent underdog. 4.0 would be an even bigger underdog. Whereas if it's 1.8, it's like minus 125. You do the conversion in your head. Like 1.8 decimal odds is like minus 125 in terms of just regular American odds. So that's just giving you a couple of bases.
Like I said in the chat, if it's not related to drugs or cooking, I have no idea how the metric system works.
Yeah, no, I know. Like the main ones I know are 2.0 is like even money. 1.8 is minus 125.
Same thing with Celsius. Amazing. We always talk about weather, and I go like, "Oh yeah, it's nice. It's like 70 degrees here." And he's like, "Yeah, it's like 25." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I know Celsius to Fahrenheit. That's why I always, when I'm talking to American, I don't even bother saying Celsius. I think in my head equivalent Fahrenheit, and we'll talk that way when it comes to the temperature.
And then the funny part is that it's not, it's us. We're the ones that haven't subscribed there. It's everyone else in the world like, oh yeah, this is what we use, and we're the ones that have to be dare to be different with it. So don't quite get why we haven't made that changeover, but.
No, exactly. They're talking about both intermissions here on the Sportsnet broadcast. Sportsnet's got their own like intermission crew, even though they're picking up the NBC game tonight, and it's Tim Peel for both of these intermissions. They're talking about that. I mean, this guy's they're not going to leave nobody's going to leave this poor guy alone now for several weeks. I mean, like we have to talk about it today, but after today, we're not talking about the Tim Peel incident again on the Ice Guys show. We got it out of our system today on the show. We spent a good 10 minutes on it. We said our piece.
Unless something new comes out.
I sure as hell did. That's it. We've said our piece. Time to move on now. But the networks and the media, they like to hype things up and sensationalize everything. And talking points and intrigue and controversy, it sells. How many times have we heard that phrase over the years? Controversy sells. They revel in it. They're going to just keep beating it into the ground now for a little bit longer with this Tim Peel officiating controversy last night.
Definitely.
It wasn't a controversy. It was just the guy said something that all referees do. For the course of 30, 40, 50 years refereeing games, that they give make-up calls, and if there's 3 penalties on one team in a game so far, none on the other, they'll slant toward giving the other team some penalties now.
Some people were suggesting that the reason the league was upset was because that he swore on television, which, and I don't know how the FCC rules work for sports. It's funny, that was a conversation I heard on a different podcast the other night. But, that might have had something to do with it too. He dropped an F-bomb on the air, which, I mean, that happens. It's hockey. Obviously, like you can hear a lot of F-bombs if you have mics on, but that didn't help his cause at all, for sure.
That would be amazing if that's the whole reason that they were upset, was the F-bomb. It wasn't even what he said. I'm sure it had to have been, but it's just you're right. I hadn't even truly thought of that, or I knew he said it, but it didn't occur to me at the time that
next year when ESPN gets the contract, get ready next year, because and Clint. He's in the chat. He can attest to this. If you watch the UFC, they start throwing some swear words around. All of a sudden, the sound just cuts straight out. You're gonna have that in the NHL too. If player mics get hot around the players, you're just gonna have this 5 seconds of empty sound, because even in 2021 with all the shit we say online and we watch and everything, you still can't say certain things on television.
Yeah, I know. They're still very ultra sensitive about that. You're right. And you still hear apologies when there's a player in a post-game interview, saying shit, you dropping an F-bomb, and they'll say, oh, we're sorry about that, or sorry, sorry about the word that was used or whatever. You hear
my favorite.
We're in an era now where swearing's almost like it's way more common, I find, than when I was a kid. Way more.
Oh yeah, my favorite Corey Crawford moment of all time is when they won the cup. That was the 2013 or 2015 season there in Grant Park. He's lit. He's trash. They gave him the belt that they give around for the season. He got it for the end of the year. And he goes, "Fucking A right, Chicago, the biggest bunch of fucking beauties in the league." And they didn't bleep it out on local TV anywhere in Chicago. They bleeped it out on NHL. I watched the NHL Network here in Minnesota. And they bleeped out the second time. And it's just the funniest thing. And it's just like, if you guys knew what these hockey players were saying in locker rooms and on the ice half the game, you would never mic them. Like, it's not like the NFL or in practice, they'll be like, if you see practice clips on YouTube, they're like, hey, don't say anything crazy, I'm mic'd up. But during a game, if they're in the game, then that's just, that's hockey culture for you. They're going to, swear.
Yeah, exactly right. I wish I could be more adventurous for you guys. Right now, I'm staying pat for as of right now. Let's see how the third period. Let's see how the first couple shifts go. I'm going to jump in on something after like the first couple of minutes, the first couple of shifts, depending on the way the game is flowing. Hell, if I see Buffalo in the first couple of minutes really taking it to Pittsburgh and not showing that they packed it in, hell, I might take a little Buffalo next goal. But I got to see what their mindset is coming out of this dressing room, because that last 4-minute finish to the second period, Alex, to turn a 2-1 game to 4-1 for Pittsburgh, that could have lost the Sabres all over again, the way that period ended. And we won't know that until we see how they
I think
answer,
they did.
how they respond.
That's why I took a shot, even money on the Penguins before next. I wouldn't be shocked to see Penguins get another goal here in the first 5 minutes.
No. Oh shit! Third period started. I got to refill the beer. I will be back. I hope I don't miss anything.
I'll hold the fort down.
30 seconds.
Yep. Buffalo wins the draw. So 55 seconds left in that power play, by the way, too. For those of you who are, some people may be a little bit behind or what happened. Ooh. Close drive by Buffalo right there. Penalty has now expired for the Sabres. Oh, 2-1. No. The 2-on-2, but Penguins had a little bit of advantage there.
Yeah, not taking a piss. I'm getting another beer. No, I haven't gone to the washroom yet. You're right. My bladder is. It takes 2 or 3 beers before I need to urinate. Honestly, I don't know how, but
I got this old man medication with these water pills that I take now. So
I break medication will always make the bladder go.
That's why I don't drink beer that much either, too, because beer will aggravate that way more. Like if I drink just liquor and champagne, I can hold it. Like if I'm at a bar, I drink just straight booze. I don't want to go to the bathroom for a minute, but so I get that beer in there.
There we go. So there we go. Two beers for
Wednesday
night. Oh, this is just Labatt Blue. I don't have my craft
beer
tonight. Craft beer is very potent. I'd save that for like a weekend Betcast. If we ever did one on a Saturday or Sunday.
And doing this, I don't drink craft beer at all, but especially for this, because for me it fills me out like a meal. It's that full heavy, and I don't want that when I'm drinking. If I'm drinking all night, like I want durable and light. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I want good alcohol, but yeah. I'm drinking something that tastes like those stouts, like even St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I had a one Irish car bomb limit, and that was it. Because I started drinking that Guinness, and now I'm gonna slow down. I'm trying to drink for 17 hours here. Guinness is not part of that plan. No. You know,
it's a heavy, thick beer that if you're gonna get your drink, if you're binge drinking, you got to stay away from stouts. You got to stay away from the dark beers. You got to stay away from. There's these stouts that they put chocolate and vanilla in it. And it's tasty as hell. It's great at like a holiday, like a Christmas time. But if you're going to try to get a hangover going off stout beers with all of this thick, lactose, chocolate, vanilla that they put into it, you're paying the price. You're going to get 1.5 of those in your system, and you're going to be KO'd.
It's the same thing. Yeah. My gin and vodka. So when I first started drinking, I used to drink I drink like vodka and peach schnapps, like UV Blue and Monster, all the young kid shit, right? And a buddy of mine turned me on. He drank gin. He would drink Seagram's gin, neat and warm. And I thought he was a psychopath, and he is. Love him to death. He's crazy. But I started drinking booze straight, and I'm like, oh, these hangovers aren't so bad. It's not hurting my stomach because that sugar is being taken out of there. And you can coast a lot longer. Those hangovers aren't as brutal. Even though people are like, "Oh, gin, the worst thing in the world." And you're drinking it neat with a little bit of ice, like you would a good whiskey or good scotch. It makes a huge difference than if you start pouring a bunch of orange juice, cranberry juice, and that sugar starts hitting you that next morning. So,
all right, I am going to go with here the 10 minutes prop right now with the Penguins now. Plus 140, small. Plus 140 for Pittsburgh to score before 10 minutes left in the third period. Bad weather. Oh, yeah, Terry, you're right in my area. That's right. I keep forgetting that. It looks like we got some thunderstorms here coming. I can hear
you guys are getting the rain that we had yesterday. We had some really bad rain here yesterday in the Midwest.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, we got a little thunderstorms coming. Yep. It was a nice day. I went for a beautiful walk today, and it was like almost Fahrenheit. So I'm going to think of it in my mind what it is. It would be about 67 Fahrenheit here today.
Oh, nice.
Really nice.
Oh, that's real. That's nice to hear.
Really nice. Yeah.
Oh, breakaway,
breakaway Buffalo, and a penalty.
That's a penalty shot, right?
No, just a penalty.
No? That was a clear break and a slash from the back. That should.
There's a guy that should be doing more for Buffalo, Casey Middlestat. They really liked him, and he's been underwhelming, like a lot of guys.
Has he though? I mean, I feel like he had a really good spurt. That he was kind of out kicking his coverage when a couple of years ago when he had some good numbers. I think he's a middle of the road guy in my book. But
yeah,
everybody could be doing more on this team, obviously. But
is he a consistent top 6 scoring weapon? No. But I think there's been a lot of bad droughts there's been a lot of bad droughts on a lot of players on this team. But I think they could get more from Middlestat in particular. He's got great speed. He showed you right there. Like he's got wheels, but. It's kind of like some of these guys even that play for – there's a lot of these guys, like friggin' Grabner for years. He had speed to burn, and he couldn't bury any of his chances until, down the road. He finally had some big offensive years. But early in his career, Grabner, he had speed to burn and couldn't finish anything around the net.
Chris Versteeg at the end of his career – well, majority of his career. All the speed in the world. But unless he had Kane and Taves and Hossa helping him, he wasn't much of anything. Or Sharp, too. So you got the 4-on-4 for another 40 seconds, and you got in live Buffalo plus 162 next goal, Penguins plus 110. So good prices out of the way if you like whichever side. Penguins 2-1.
Here's the Penguins. Crosby. Score!
Yes. There it is. I said next to goal, next score to goal. Another one.
In the 10-minute within 10 minutes prop cashes. Yeah.
Like DJ Khaled, another one.
And another one. Plus 140. Not as good of a price, that one, but plus 140. Still damn good. Crosby. Oh, he didn't even get all of that. He sort of fanned on it. And he still beat Tokarski. I think the off-speeder fooled Tokarski. Look, he didn't get all of it. Became an off-speeder.
A change-up.
Yep, change up. Time to drink. It's that's going to become our new custom now on this show. We have a cash a bet. We got to drink.
You got to drink. Cheers.
Congratulatory beverage.
Mercy.
All right,
and that's the over. Well, that pushes the over at 6. 7.5 plus 105 available live right now still, which is shocking.
Yep. So 5-1 Pittsburgh. Not that the game result was in doubt, but
no.
The total is can still get there. Well, it's on 6, so that's the problem now with if you have over in this game. Well, you're not going to lose. You're going to push. Worst case scenario. But if you have the total of 6 before the game, now at 5-1, Pittsburgh doesn't need any more goals, and Buffalo is, probably
they could be free flowing. That's what you're talking about with that. Both teams to score in this period. This could be that free, especially now about 20 seconds left in this power play. They could be a little bit free flowing and get that second goal.
The good news is that I don't have to worry about losing the value. Like if both teams end up scoring and it's -1, that cash is at -160. I'm like, okay. I missed out on it, but so what? I just cashed a plus 140 a minute ago with Pittsburgh in the first 10 minutes to score. So that is 2 bets tonight, guys, where I've taken Pittsburgh first 10 minutes of the period to score a goal. First period and now here in the third period. Yep. So there we go. It's going to be a profitable night. Me
too.
You as well. Great call there. First period over. And the one you had just now, which was which one?
Next goal to score, even money.
Good. Yeah, you jumped on just the next goal, a little safer, but great job. Yep. Plus 100, mine plus 140 first 10 minutes. So great stuff. I'm going to post that on Twitter.
Yes.
We got to get people showing up this next live betcast so they know, hey, we're coming in here and we're putting some winning live bets in the coffer here.
And like I said, and you mentioned earlier about how you don't really live bet that often. I mean, I'm looking for live betting opportunities almost every night now, especially like I said, especially on cards where even if it's a big card, but if on the show, let's say I only have like 3 or 4 official plays, that means chances are I got 2 games where I'm looking for live opportunities, and I'm doing a little bit better with that than pregame bets. So, follow me on Twitter at AXMSports. Follow Ian at Bomano, and we'll probably put some more live plays on the Ice Guys Twitter page at _Ice Guys as well, moving toward the postseason.
Absolutely. There we go. So you cash Pens to score the 6th goal of the game.
Plus 100.
Plus 100. Very good. All right, there we go. Awesome stuff. That is what we like to see. This game's been a little bit more entertaining than we thought, although most of the excitement coming from the Pittsburgh side of things. And we're cashing some bets. So this is not good for all of a sudden doom and gloom with, oh my God, Sabres Penguins. That's our first live bet cast, and it's the only game on at the time. Sutter out, Horvat in for the Vancouver Canucks. So there you go. That's actually huge getting Horvat back. But sticking with, I could buy out, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with Winnipeg.
No, I still trust in Winnipeg more.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with it. It's the way it goes sometimes. Like we do the show at 2 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be times where you really feel strongly about, a late addition to the lineup or a late scratch to the lineup or a goaltender starting that you didn't expect, and it changes your opinion quite a bit. This one, not enough, for me to get off the Winnipeg position that I got. Oh, Yoka Haru, point shot off the post. I hit the post with the shot, as Doc would say. 38-23 now. The shots on goal in favor of Pittsburgh. 12:40 to go. There we go. All right. Sam Reinhart trying to get something going for Buffalo, but stopped up. There we go. That's Jari better there. See that rebound? That's what you do. You pop the rebound out to the board. That's what you want to do. The rebound's either, if you can't spit it right back into the slot or right back in front of the net to the crease area. Exactly. Spit it to the corner boards or the side boards, and you're good, because then you have an outlet out of the zone with your D that way. See, Tokarski actually just gave you a good example how you get rid of the garbage, get rid of the loose change, put it to the side, put it to the corner boards. Yeah. Can we all agree that Jimmy Puckline would have had Pens -1.5 time? I'm pretty sure he would have. He might have. Sometimes with
laying a price, maybe not.
He likes the big prices.
He might have done the 2.5.
Yeah, he might have, like he tried to do with Minnesota. You're right. The other night. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, Melissa, Jimmy is definitely more of he likes the -1.5, like at +160, +180, +200. He really goes for not as big of a favorite on the puck line. Like if they're laying maybe -140 or 50, then he'll bet the team on the puck line. This one, when Pittsburgh was -280, -290 before the game started, he might have just said, you know what, it's -115 with the -1.5 goals. That's not enough to tickle my buying bone, so not betting it. King Sharks under. I lean over. I can't bet. Look, the last game stayed under 2-1. Maybe this one will as well with San Jose, LA. I can't often find enough reasons to bet a San Jose under at 5.5, especially at 5.5. To me, it's too tricky to trust that defense and that goaltending. And usually on the rare nights they do get defense and goaltending. The next game they don't. So I lean over in that game. But I like the Kings. That's what I like more than anything. All right, so we're 11:30 to go in this game. It's been a very, very lucrative night. It really has. I mean, I'm extremely happy with the way things have gone here. We had first period and third period over with Pittsburgh to score in the first 10 minutes. For me, Alex had the first period over, which cashed. He had the Penguins to score the next goal at even money in the third period, which cashed. Really, the only thing that I think lost was my small little Gensel to score the fourth goal of the game.
And the second period under half goal that lost.
Yeah.
That was kind of a bad beat with that goal late.
Yeah. You're right. It was the goal late to make it 4-1 at the end of the second period for Pittsburgh. So that was. But yeah, this has been a good game, better game than we thought. No question. We got a bigger schedule, I believe, tomorrow. So make sure you join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're back on the air. We've got a big Thursday NHL card tomorrow. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games on the NHL card tomorrow. It is a big slate. So looking forward to breaking those games down on the Ice Guys tomorrow. Big 11-game NHL card, assuming that nothing gets postponed. Right. Buffalo and Pittsburgh are one of those games. They're playing each other again tomorrow night in Pittsburgh. And it looks like Pittsburgh might even be a bigger favorite tomorrow night. I'm seeing minus 320 now with Pittsburgh tomorrow night. So the prices just keep on going up and up and up right now for the favorites against this Sabres team. All right. Yeah, if you're Buffalo, you're definitely
you got to shake your head.
Yeah. These aren't fun situations when you're a team that's been this bad for so long. It just eats away at you.
You got to think if Eichel was healthy enough in the next week or so, he wants out. Yeah.
Has he played his last game in Buffalo? Because he's still on the injured list, and we don't know if he's coming back from this anytime soon.
And we don't know how bad the injury is. I mean, it's bad, but it may not be as bad. So, yeah, I think he might be done.
This started out with Eichel's current injury that he's dealing with right now. This started out as a day-to-day injury, and they thought it would be very, very minute, and he'd be back pretty quickly. But this neck of his, it's not getting any better. He was just placed on injured reserve 2 days ago on Monday. He's missed 7 games now. Just say he's eligible to be activated from injured reserve once he's healthy. Well, no shit. When is he going to be healthy? That's what we're interested in. That none of that information gives us a damn bit of clarity, as to when he's going to be back. Yeah, I'm upset when I lose a bet. You might as well just say that. He's eligible to be activated from injured reserve once he's healthy. That's like saying, yeah, Ian Cameron's upset when he loses a bet. Common sense, common logic will tell you that. Yeah. Pittsburgh, this is what Pittsburgh can do now. And, well, obviously they got a 5-1 lead. It's not like they have a 1 or 2 goal lead, but this is what they can do now, Alex, with the lead. They can play good, smart hockey, put the puck deep. What's that saying? Eddie Olczyk, who's one of the best, I think maybe the best analyst going, he always says this. I always hear this from him during a game, whether it's Hawks game or an NBC game. Pucks in at their blue line and out at your blue line. He always says that when they're talking about a team with a lead in the third period. He says, puck out, get the puck out at your blue line, get the puck in at their blue line. And that is the recipe for success protecting a lead. You get the puck out, not hemmed in your offensive zone, and you get the puck deep so that you don't get caught on a long shift, and you have good line changes that way. He's 100% right. Probably was a good player, too, in his day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's Berkey.
Mm-hmm.
Berkey's got as much gel in his hair as I do. And that's a lot, by the way. Yeah. Poor Don Granato. Don Granato's in a tough spot. Like he didn't expect to be the head coach, and now he's an interim coach. And he knows too that, damn, I'm getting evaluated. Like if he's thinking about becoming a future head coach and a future bench boss somewhere, he knows this is the first opportunity for him to show people what he's all about and what he's got. And he's got to come in and try to coach this dumpster fire right now. I mean, that's tough. Yeah. That's like asking me, at this point in time, you know what? Back when they sucked for all those years, You know what, Ian? We want to show you how good of a we want to see how good of a handicapper you are, but to be able to prove it to us, you got to bet on the Cleveland Browns in 2015 or something. You know, good luck for me having success doing that. Good luck with Don Granato right here.
Yep.
You know, having success now, trying to show his first opportunity to be a head coach in the NHL and being basically handed this almost impossible situation to deal with.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, we've got Isha from the Hockey Podcast Network checking in.
Yeah, nice.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we're a few beers too deep. Yeah, definitely a few.
Champagne too.
This is it though for me. I've actually got to do a radio hit late.
Yeah, late. Yeah, you got late spot.
With Morency, which is my Wednesday night tradition. So no, Isha, you're not. I should actually make you edit this thing and put it up. 2 hours of editing. Actually, you still won't have to do too much because we're not having any technical issues. The times that I give you grief for editing our show is when the show cuts out in the midstream, which it's done a couple of times. When my damn modem, which recycles randomly once every 24 hours, and half the time it happens when I'm doing this damn show.
Right.
But that's when it gives you the grief. Yeah. There you go. No, we'll give you the night off, man. You work hard enough.
Yeah,
definitely. You work hard enough. Have a beer with us. There you go. Take a night off. There you go. No, it's been a good night. I mean, you know, we want to make profit. You know, that's always the aim. Like, it's not we always preface these live betting shows by saying that these are recreational bets. They're small bets. Keep them small. Manage your bankroll. That doesn't mean we're coming on here to lose all of these bets. We want to win them. Oh, absolutely, we want to win them. And it's just, you know, you got to keep them lighter. You know, there's a lot of plus prices that I like to jump on and take a chance with. And you're not always going to be able to hit all of them. So if you do that, you could be lucrative. You could make money with live betting as long as you're disciplined, you're picking your spots, you're using logic, you're using what you watch and what you see as you're watching the games, which we've done. Why did I jump on these Pittsburgh 10-minute props? Because they were coming in waves against Buffalo. Pressure in the offensive zone, sustained forecheck, multiple shifts in a row, catch on to that, and look at what happened. Cash twice with that.
Read and react. That's the name of the game. And like I said, I always talk about that with live betting. And I'm glad that we've had the perfect scenario to, you know, put this into, you know, motion this evening and have it captured on camera. I'm grateful for that because, you know, like I said, it's one thing to, you know, tweet these out and, you know, all right, well, you know, you get in these spots of different this and that, but now people get to see the process of what we actually do when live betting and what we're looking for and seeing it cash in progress. So it's lovely.
Yeah, I'm thinking that when we do one of these in the future, if we pick like a Tuesday night or Wednesday night or Thursday night, but a night when there's like 3 or 4 games at least at the same time, we should probably do it, like set it up. So I've got my eyes on a couple. You've got your eyes, Alex, on a couple. Jimmy's got his eyes on a couple. And that way we can keep everybody apprised. Because if we're all locked in on the same game, it's going to be a little bit more.
Right. And with the viewers have helped out too. I mean, that first period over, it was everybody in the chat room looking at that. And I'm seeing the same thing. But once they said that, I'm like, yeah, you're right. This is a good price to strike upon. So, you know, you guys have helped out too. So, you know, kudos to you, to everyone watching as well.
Good for you, Lance. If you took the Ottawa Senators today, congratulations. Good play. Good job. I mean, look, I knew Calgary was overpriced a little bit, and yet I still bet them. I mean, it's hindsight's 2020. I get it, but I was disappointed with them today. That third period was inexcusable. You're actually up 1-0. You're supposed to come out and put a close to that game, put your stamp on it, and finish the job. And Calgary just didn't do that. And Ottawa totally outplayed them in the third period, and they rightfully turned that game from a 1-0 deficit to a 3-1 win. They earned it. They outplayed Calgary in the third period. Terrible third period for the Flames. Got what they deserved. It's exactly what it was. Yeah, I mean, Isha, thanks again. Yeah, we're glad to be with you. I mean, we're happy you're with us, and we're happy we're happy you're with us. We're happy we're with you guys. Hockey Podcast. A lot of good shows. I mean, you're doing the Minnesota podcast, the Soda Pod. There's podcasts for every team, pretty much, on the Hockey Podcast Network. So if you're a fan of a specific team, anybody watching our show, make sure you tune in at least to the podcast of your favorite team, because there's coverage every single week. Podcasts of each individual NHL team. So make sure you check those out as well. Yeah, I don't bet many parlays. I make no. We got a penalty shot here. Yeah, see,
Yeah, but you should have had earlier.
There it is, Victor Olofsson. Well, that's going to make over bettors happy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The over is cashed if you had over 6 in this game, or if you had the live in-game over 6.5. So, and there's your both teams to score, -160 in the period.
Yep.
I wanted to bet that, but it was too not at -160.
You did the right thing. You did the right thing by staying away. Yeah, have a price.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've learned. Don't be mad that you didn't bet something just because it won.
Oh yeah, some of the best bets you can make are not betting them at all.
Yep. I'm more than happy with what I got. I got a +140 and a +300 in the bag tonight.
And I got a +150 and an even money. So.
Yep. And exactly, we haven't laid any prices tonight, or we haven't all the wins, I should say, at the very least.
Even all the losses. That was plus. With a +1, when did I get that? +130.
Yep.
Yeah, so I haven't laid anything. Yeah.
Yep. It's got to be off the post, Buffalo. Woo. Trying to make a comeback here. Yeah.
Could make it interesting. Yeah. Why? And somebody was talking about that 3.5 in the chat. I'm like, that's a little iffy, and now that's in trouble right now.
Yeah, I was thinking long and hard. Pittsburgh -3.5 +115 at the start of the third period to win by 4 or more. And I'm like, I don't think I better stay off that. But we're going to find something out, guys, about Don Granato here in this final 4 minutes. Some coaches pull the goalie with 3-4 minutes to go down by 3. Some don't.
Yeah.
We're going to find out now if Granato's one of those guys that still pulls the goalie and gets the extra attacker down by 3 goals. Not every coach does that. A lot of coaches wave the white flag down 3. They'll only pull the goalie 2 goals down or less.
And 4 minutes left. Yeah, I mean, we might see that.
V. Barry, congrats. He cashed the third period over 1.5.
Nice.
Very good. The only reason I said I like to bet that, I didn't bet it because it was 3-goal margin. If it had stayed a 2-goal margin or less, I would have, but it cashed anyway. So congratulations. Yep. Because you're never quite sure at a 3-goal spread going into the third period if the team that's up is going to just sit back and the team that's down may feel they're far enough out of it that they're not going to make a valiant effort at trying to come back. All right, so 3:20 to go. We're winding things down. Our first Betcast, so we'll be signing off just after this game ends. Bet
Online's got everything locked up now at this point, so nothing available to bet live at this point.
Yeah, which some books do. Let me see. I closed down Bet365, the book that I'm using for the live wagering for this game tonight a minute ago. I got to just check to see if they've got everything still up there or not for this game. I think most of them are probably locked here as well. I would think, yeah. Oh, yeah, once we get down to 3 minutes or so, yep. 40 shots now for the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight in this game. And again, if you look at the Natural Stat Trick or any website that gives you updated statistics, you're going to see that this was a legitimate victory for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've controlled the play. It continues to be that way for the most part. A little bit better in the third period for the Sabres. Sabres actually 1-1 right now. High danger chances for and against in the third period. So even. Sabres have had a high danger chance. Pittsburgh has had a high danger chance. That's it. Right. It's actually been a pretty tight third period, believe it or not, even though Pittsburgh scored a goal and Buffalo scored on the penalty shot. It's actually been a tightly defensively contested third period. Only one high danger chance apiece for both teams. And actually a slight edge in expected goal margin for the Sabres here in this third period. 0.21 to 0.16, although a very, very minimal edge.
Very slim, yeah.
Very slim, yeah. But again, they're trailing in the game. It's not entirely unexpected. Yeah, money coming in on Vancouver. There's going to be some reaction to Horvat being in, which obviously we know is good news for the Canucks if they're going to try to bounce back from losing to the Jets the other night. That's a good hockey game, though. I'm looking forward to seeing that in the late night hours here after we sign off.
Minutes,
Winnipeg and Vancouver, LA and San Jose will be on this NBC Sports Network national TV game following Buffalo, Pittsburgh. Jake Guentzel is shaking his head right now on the bench as they showed him on the bench coming back from the commercial break, and he's kind of like shaking his head. And I feel like I feel like doing that too, Jake, because he had a chance that could have given up me that goal scorer prop on you to score the fourth goal, plus 550, and you had a couple other chances too, just didn't go in for him. But definitely, he's had chances tonight, and that's another thing you can't tell from not watching the game. Like, you can evaluate Jake Guentzel and you see, he didn't do a whole lot. Well, no, he had chances tonight. He had chances. He had a redirect that almost went in. He had a clear-cut opportunity on Tokarski that I think was blocked right in front of the net, and a couple other good looks as well. You look at the stats and you see he didn't really produce much, and that's where it's going to fool you and lie to you. So that's goes back to what we've been hammering, the point we've been hammering home all night, where the observational handicapping, at least to Alex and I, as old school guys that like to actually watch the games and learn from them, you get something from doing that. I don't care what anyone says, whether they can win money year in and year out in a certain sport, not knowing the teams, not knowing the players, not watching any games. Yeah. That's fine. I credit them for winning that way and being able to bet that way. But it's not for me. It's not for Alex. It's not the way we feel we can best serve ourselves, or obviously people that are endorsing, or we're trying to have endorse the recommendations we give.
A delayed penalty on.
They have not pulled the goalie, Buffalo. This is a delayed penalty, which is why the goalie is out of the net. It's actually Pittsburgh, yeah. Eric Stahl, he's in a tough spot.
He's going to be moved.
A veteran player that, is now on a terrible hockey team. He's not had a great year either. And now the debate is also raging right now, guys, about, is Eric Stahl is he done? Can he still contribute in some way for a team? Is this just because he's on a really bad team? If he were to get dealt at the deadline and go to a team that's got a legit cup chance, would that stoke the fires, reignite Eric Stahl, and get him going again? I think there's a possibility there.
A team like, my Blackhawks. We need a centerman who can win faceoffs. He'd be a good fit.
And I'll tell you what, center ice position is like finding gold, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You can never have enough depth in your organization or on your team at the center ice position and goaltending. If I were to say, like, defense is important too, but I would say the center ice position and goaltending, especially in a season like this, you need a ton of depth at those positions.
Agreed.
Especially in a season like this. Condensed schedule, more injuries could happen. Goaltending in particular, a lot of games, you need multiple goalies to be able to go in there and start. So if you can pick up an Eric Stahl and bolster your center ice position going into the playoffs and going into a long playoff run for a team that's a hopeful Stanley Cup contender, I think there would be a part of me that thinks Eric Stahl could reignite with another team. Like, he's just stagnant on a bad team right now.
You can't spend a lot for him. Somebody was saying they wouldn't waste anything. I'm like, you can't spend a bunch on him, but a draft pick, a prospect that mid-level, it might be worth it for some teams.
Like, let's not forget, Eric Stahl's already accomplished a lot. He's been on a lot of winning teams. He's won a Stanley Cup. He did that very early in his career with Carolina. He's been to the playoffs a ton. He's accomplished a lot. And when you're all of a sudden playing for absolutely nothing on a team going nowhere, with the worst team in the NHL, that chips away at your inspiration level, I guess you could say. Are you really going to bust it as much in a situation that's almost hopeless here with the Sabres? Whereas all of a sudden, if he gets dealt at the deadline and goes somewhere else, I'm not saying Eric Stahl's never going to get back to 2000s Eric Stahl and when he was just a young buck in Carolina. But I think he can still, in the right situation with the right team, he's still got that big body presence that you like, in front of the net. He's still got a decent enough release. You could say foot speed has declined a little bit in recent years, but there's still enough ability, I think, and certainly would be enough motivation in him as a person if he were to get a change of scenery and have a chance to be in the playoffs with someone contending. We are just about done here with this game. The final seconds ticking off, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, it is a 5-2 win over the Buffalo Sabres. If you laid that astronomical price with Pittsburgh, the pregame on the money line, you cashed in. The puck line -1.5, -115 cashes in. The game goes over the total. And of course, from a live betting perspective, Alex and I, we both cashed a couple. Me with the Pittsburgh in the first 10 minutes of the first period and the third period, both of those cashing. We had Alex taking the first period over, Pittsburgh to score the next goal early in the third period, which they did. I lost a small Jake Getzlaf fourth goal scorer prop. Alex had one in the second period, the under, which fell just short because of the late goal. But profitable night thanks to the plus price winners, and a fun night. Let's be honest, just before we finish, overall thoughts on the night and this game in particular. Obviously, the result not shocking. The Buffalo Sabres lost again. Big breaking news here. Buffalo just lost a hockey game. But nevertheless, this game was far more entertaining and interesting to watch than I think a lot of us thought going in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously, having everybody with us helped with making this entertaining, but like I said, but profitable as well. And I'm glad that everyone got to see how, the process of live betting for those who haven't done live betting with hockey or live betting at all, get to see how this works. So it's been a successful night overall for sure.
And with that, we're going to wrap it up for this live betcast. It's been a long day. This is I had the Ice Guys show. I had the NBA show earlier today on another channel, and this is now the live betcast for the last 2.5 hours. So I'm ready to
You got another show too.
Relax for an hour, I should say, and then I got to do it while it's at least on the telephone. I don't have to be in front of a camera anymore. I could just have I could just be laying down and have the phone. That's usually what I'm doing at that time of night. Just do it like that. But with Morency on Sports Rage late night on Sports Grid. But great stuff, guys. I mean, everybody in the chat, we know the regulars. Yes. Jeffrey, Gino, J-Stone9, Melissa, Michael. I mean, we had J-Stone, we had, Lance, we had Terry, we had everybody, Lance LaRose, everybody else that joined us in the chat tonight. We appreciate it. Spread the word. We're going to be doing more of these in April and beyond. Once the tournament is over in college basketball, we get to that second week of April. We're going to be trying to do these once a week, live betcast, just one night a week. It'll be maybe not always the same night, but one night each and every week, the rest of the regular season and in the playoffs as well, a live betcast here, courtesy of the Ice Guys. So thanks to everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. And don't forget, we're back with our normal Ice Guys show and podcast tomorrow, live on YouTube, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on Thursday to break down.
Don't forget the store. Check out store.spreadshirt.com/Ice Guys. We got all of our, t-shirts, hoodies, caps, bandanas, mugs, all available for purchase. So if you like the show and you made some money tonight and want to spend it, go ahead and spend it with us at the Ice Guys store.
Exactly. And I guarantee you, take the over one game on the schedule the next betcast we do, because it will definitely have more than just the one game at the time that we're on the air, the next one we do in April. But thanks a lot. As Alex said, check out the store. I posted links to the store on my Twitter, Alex on his, the Ice Guys Twitter. You'll find the link to the store right there. The merch is live. It's available for order. It's available for purchase. Make sure you check that out. Support the show. We appreciate it without a doubt. And it's great, cool looking merch. This is cool looking stuff. It is worth the purchase for sure. So make sure you check that out. That'll wrap it up for Alex B. Smith, Ian Cameron. It's been a blast. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a few beers as well. I've still got some left. One last beer before we wrap it up. Cheers. Here we go. Cheers. There we go. Got to end it with a swig.
Right.
That's the way it is with two good hardcore veteran drinkers like Alex and
Indeed.
I. Thanks a million, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow on Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern for the Ice Guys. As always, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Good night.